All right.
We're streaming.
Wait.
We are live. Oh, see. So you messed me up. I wanted to play. Now my computer's being stupid.
Well, that's fine.
On the intro with the New World Order. It's been 2 weeks. We got for the holidays, and we're coming back to some New World Order stuff. I don't care if you guys like it. I like it. That's fine.
I know. I'm just messing with you, Joe.
Oh, what a crowd. What a crowd it is tonight. Hello, everyone. Facebook world, streaming live. Hope everyone had a good holiday. I know I did. It was peaceful. It was quiet for the most part. I'll say that. Still had to work from time to time. How are you gentlemen doing?
Well, there's 2 COVID outbreaks in my office since Christmas.
Wow, 2. I had one as well. We were sitting home, and then something else went on, and got another email. Go home, work from home for the rest of the week. So it's pretty much what I did for about half of most of last week. So
I've been on vacation for a week, so I got to go back to work tomorrow.
back to the old grinds.
I didn't have a vacation. Busy season. Well, it's not busy yet. It has started, and I've been made to feel like I'm busy because there's a bit of a weird thing, I guess you could say, going on right now in that my boss is, well, my main boss, since I have multiple bosses. My main boss is down in Florida this month. He and his wife are renting a condo for the month because his wife is retired and stuff.
A month? Damn.
Yeah. So he's not in the office.
Living the life.
He's working from Florida, and you know our phones have been ringing pretty much off the hook. So you know, half the calls are clients, and then half the calls are him. So.
You guys answering those calls from the clients? Yes, if you're off the goddamn phone, we can answer some more. Thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just it's more along the lines of what are you working on? So what are you doing? So what's on your timesheet? You know, it's just like so when you feel that, it's when you feel that presence right behind you, even though it isn't. So it's weird. And like I said, we had 2 COVID issues. We had 2 people. We had one person test positive the Tuesday after Christmas, and one person test positive last Tuesday. So it's been a weird start to the year already, and
you know,
the last 2 years, of course, tax deadline was extended. And we're really, really hoping that doesn't happen again this year, but who the hell knows?
I mean, they just pushed my student loan back to May. It was supposed to start again in January, and they just pushed it to May now.
Yeah, I
got that email as well. I was like, whoa, sweet.
Yes.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah, that's a slightly different reasoning and everything. And of course, I don't have student loans anymore. You know, so I'm going to be one of those dickheads who's like, oh, why are these people getting their student loans deferred and forgiven? And blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No, I will not ever be that person. Like, I'm not going to be the person who's going to be jealous that somebody else is getting help when there's, you know, shit like this going on. But there's plenty of people like that out there, so it's not cool.
Yes, there are.
Yes,
there are.
But you know, you're seeing I don't want to call it panic, but I don't know. I don't really know what else you would call it in the good old you know, film industry and everything. Because let's see, Morbius just got pushed back from January 28th to April 1st.
I think it's more of a Spider-Man.
Well, I think it's I was out at the movies
and COVID, but I think it's more Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was out at the movies with my sister and brother-in-law, and then we went to dinner today. But when we were discussing that, because my sister really wants to see Morbius because Matt Smith, one of the former Doctor Who's, is in it.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, the reason why I'm sure they I mean, obviously, I think the biggest reason they push Morbius back is because not knowing how this variant is going to play out over the next few weeks and everything like that. And Morbius is not Spider-Man. It's not bulletproof. So I'm sure they're thinking is, well, let's just push it back to a time where maybe we can land it in and there's a better chance of people going to see it without like worries and everything. I'm of course now worried that Warner's might panic about Batman, but that's still 8 weeks away, so we'll see. But like in addition to Morbius, what was it? Disney's Pixar's Turning Red, they announced is going to go straight to Disney Plus, which will make it the third straight Disney Pixar movie to go straight to Disney Plus, which is interesting. But I guess it's family films haven't been necessarily doing well at the box office. So
yeah, they've been doing average.
Yeah, I don't know how well Encanto did, but they put that on Disney Plus pretty quickly after it came out. It was only about a month. Yeah, that was just a Disney one. That wasn't a Pixar one, but same kind of principle applies and everything. So
I think they want to reap all the benefits they can from Spider-Man 2 because it's still setting, box office records and still bringing in a shitload of money.
Yeah. No. I mean, when I was at the movie today, it didn't look like many other people were, but the weather wasn't great here today. We had freezing rain and shit, and we just we just had some snow a couple days ago. So
it was 64 and sunny.
Fuck yourself.
Now it's raining right now, but still.
Well, let's see here. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, Tuesday. I think the high is going to be like 17. So we're getting one of the ultra chilly days.
Yeah, Tuesday down here is supposed to be like a high of like 37 or something like that for Tuesday. So we're going to get hit with some of that coldness.
Yeah, so we're going to get some nice chilliness going on here, and
Joe,
it's winter.
Joe is going to pop his AEW cherry this week.
Oh no, Joe, bring protection. And by protection, I of course mean protection from all the other people.
Well, I'll be fine. Yep, got decent seats for in the 2-round section at the PNC Arena.
And he's going to get to see CM Punk wrestle. So,
yep, first row in the 200 section. I don't remember what section it is. 214, 212, something like that. Seats 3 and 4. So it'll be good. I'll be excited. I think we're on the camera side too. So if you look at your TVs close enough in the 200 section, you should see this. Nico's going with me, so we're both going. So it'll be cool.
Are you going to? Are you going to? Sorry, I got distracted by something on my Facebook feed here. Are you going to bring a clever sign?
I don't know. I'm not that really big in signs. I've done it a couple times, but I don't know. We'll
not
see.
Anymore. It's got to be something really, really clever for me to do it, and I just don't want to go through all the trouble. So, I mean, we could be like that sweet person that had that transgender Nyla Rose sign and get kicked out. So,
yeah, just people pushing the limits.
Absolute asshole. Totally deserved to get kicked out. So
yes,
definitely pushing the limits with some of that shit.
I mean, it's not not even really pushing the limit. It's basically knowing
it's ignorant, but that's they're pushing the limit, trying to get that on TV and see how long it stays, or see how long it takes for him to get kicked out.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like stupid.
It's knowing that you're gonna get in trouble for it, and anybody can try to say, oh well, he was just blah blah. I was like, no, he's trying to belittle her as a person.
Yeah.
He's like a douche.
Like I said, you can be mean.
Like the fact that she's transgender, tough shit.
You can. There's a difference between, and I'm very I say people suck and I have no problem, but there's a huge difference between me even saying that somebody sucks and making fun of somebody for like that reason. So like when I snuck my sign in that got taken away, it didn't offend any wrestlers. It wasn't offensive to anybody at all. That guy specifically was being offensive to somebody. Like he went out of his way to offend somebody specifically. I'm glad she flipped him off when he did it. I'm glad when she saw it, flipped him off. So they should have let her go out in the crowd and beat his ass.
That would be fucking sweet, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say she's a better person than us because she didn't do that. Probably realizing, of course, that she was like would be risking her job if she were to like go into the stands and attack a fan.
No, I know.
I mean, at the same time, I feel like she would have been absolutely justified to have done that. So,
yeah, no, absolutely.
So, I thought that the Britt Baker Riho match was good last night, but I thought the Sammy Guevara Dustin Rhodes match was a train wreck. So,
I don't think it was that bad.
Dustin was gassed after 2 minutes. Like he legitimately was like, that was not the right person to put in the ring. And that I know they had to find somebody at the last minute, but that was not the right decision. So
yeah, I just think they just did that just to get him some time in the ring, and he was going to put Sammy over. You know, is what it is. I mean, the match. I don't know. I don't know if it lasted too long or whatever the case may be. It was fine though. It is what it is. Sammy won. That's all I cared about. And I kind of like the whole interim thing, interim championship. It's kind of like, UFC or boxing when they do their interim championships when, someone gets injured or wherever the case may be. So I kind of dig it because now it's kind of like one of those things where, Cody can come to the ring with the belt. Sammy can come to the ring with the belt. Let's square up and see who's the actual TNT champion.
They have a ladder match.
No, I mean, they could do that. Whatever they want to do. To determine, I could care less.
We are potentially a month away from an Adam Cole on a pole match. I mean, we really could get the Adam Cole on a pole match. So,
what was that I sent? That we saw Paragon could be the Paragon could be the new name of the O'Reilly Fish and Cole.
Pretty sure that's going to be their name because O'Reilly said it already in a promo. So
yeah, he did. When I saw that, I saw someone posted that, he had said it in a promo. I'm like, well, fuck it. That's going to be their.
As soon as I heard it say it in the promo in my head, I had already filed it away. I'm like, well, I know what their name is going to be now.
Yeah, using big words in a promo kind of makes sense. So, could that be your, name? Yeah, faction name. Yeah, we'll see where they go with that. I don't know. I'm not sure they're going to play with the Young Bucks. What's his name is tested positive and whatnot. So we'll see where they go with all that jazz.
Pat, did you just happen to turn NXT on the other night, or?
I watched that match. Yeah. Because I felt like they were gonna pull the trigger with it there. So, I watched that match to try to get an idea of what he's like.
I think that they're being very two-sided because they don't want to call him by the name, but they'll let him use every fucking move that they used, and they'll let him do all that shit, but they won't name him like Steiner. But he can do all. And I hate the Steiner recliner. I think it's terrible. I think it's a lame finisher. So Miro already does it. I don't need to see another person doing it. So I was actually not happy when he pulled that out the other night. I was like, fuck, here, now we're going to do a lame finisher. I don't like him that much. I'm not a fan of his. I'm not really there with him yet. So,
well, one of the things that I was actually, I guess surprised is the right word to learn. Like when I looked him up on Wikipedia so I could figure out what his real name is.
Mm-hmm.
His first name is Bronson.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey,
George Carlin did a routine in the mid-90s where he was talking about the decline of boys' first names, but how he went from names like John and Bob and and Ted and Phil to names like Kyle and Tucker and Tanner and Cody and Bronson's one of those names too. I just can't imagine a Steiner naming his kid Bronson, and then I found out it happened.
Maybe he named it after Charles Bronson.
Oh, you know what? That would be acceptable. That would be acceptable.
Maybe he was an 80s movies guy and he
But-
loved
but-
Charles
but-
Bronson movies.
But why wouldn't you just name him Charles then? I mean, what's wrong with Charles Rex?
Maybe he thought the Bronson was just a good name to name a boy when he had one. That's what he went with.
They went out of their way Tuesday night to take a shit on the Black and Gold NXT. They went out of their way to take a dump.
Yep.
I heard about that, and
not surprised.
You know, if they want to
wonder
redo
whose idea that was.
If they want to redo NXT and everything, it's like fine, that's their right. Obviously, it's part of their company, it's part of their brand and everything. What I don't understand, and there's really no way that I think that they could ever explain it to me that I would buy it. Why does that mean that like every single person who was part of the way it was has to be shown the door?
I know.
I don't get that.
And I'm sorry, but you're getting rid of Regal and Road Dogg are two big influential people in the back that have helped tons of wrestlers. So you would think you have a new crop of young people that you would want to keep those two around, or at least one out of the two, to help these young kids, develop and become superstars. But no, let's get rid of them. I mean, I don't even know who's back in the Performance Center besides Shawn Michaels fucking doing anything right now.
And shit, he's Triple H's buddy, so how fucking safe is his job? But it's like Regal's been continuously employed by the company since I think 2000 when he came back.
21 years.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to like he tweeted out that he's not going to say anything bad about the company because he said like they employed me at a time when I was pretty well unemployable. They saved my life, blah, blah. And I obviously get all that. I know exactly what he's referring to and everything. But again, it's like, so because he's like always been on good terms with Triple H, he's always been like a Triple H favorite. And, because going back to when they tagged in WCW briefly, and like I think it was like early 1994 before, Triple H, or late 94, early 95 before Triple H, left for the WWF.
Before Terrorizing left?
Yeah. Well, he was Jean-Paul Levesque at that point, I believe. So, but yes, you could never not mention Terrorizing when you talk about Triple H. But it's like, okay, so he's really close to Triple H and everything. So why does that mean he has to go? What is it about the way he did things that couldn't work with whatever Vince or Pritchard or Laurinaitis or Nick Khan or whoever the fuck it is that's running the show now?
I mean, me and Pat, if you're AEW, why would you not get Regal backstage? Why would you not
hire this
guy backstage?
If you want to sign any free agent, that's the guy you sign right there. I'd be like, hey, Regal, bro, we could use you. What you want?
He's already got rapport with some of these guys because some of them are from NXT anyways. So I'm like, to me, that's, if there's a hire for AEW, that's it. Get that guy backstage because he clearly is a good person backstage and he's helpful. And Triple H and Regal probably get most of the credit for NXT. If you're going to give any two individuals credit for the success that NXT Black and Gold had, Triple H and Regal to me probably are 1 and 2 on that list.
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely.
I can't believe that if this really is about Vince just being jealous because NXT was doing better than his other, like if this has anything to do with that, that's so fucked up.
Well, it
shows Vince's power right there.
And it's just a black mark against Vince then that, I always hate to refer back to this, but one of the funnier segments on Cornette's podcasts lately has been when him and his co-host Brian Last have been making fun of whatever Vince segment makes air, especially because Brian starts making fun of like the way Vince's voice sounds right now. He's all like, where's my egg? saying that he's basically unintelligible and everything, and I've only seen one or two of those segments really. I think they were all on the pay-per-view with that fucking egg bullshit. So it really makes you wonder who is most in Vince's ear, or is anybody, or is Vince just out there? And if he's just like out there like doing things that nobody can understand, why isn't somebody trying to rein him in? I mean, I know Pritchard's got the reputation of just being a total complete yes man. He'll do whatever Vince says and never challenge him and everything. And the funny thing, of course, is Laurinaitis, Pritchard always would say is the ultimate fucking yes man and everything. But what the balls is Stephanie doing? Isn't she still head of creative?
No.
Or
whatever her title is these days.
Right. like how I mean, it's her father on one hand and it's her husband on the other. So it's going to be an awkward situation for her to try to take one person's side more than the other in any situation. But none of it makes sense. It just doesn't make sense.
And because on Freddie Prinze had Macaulay Culkin on this week, and then Freddie talked about NBC trying to buy WWE or whatever several years ago. So Freddie actually brought that up.
Well, I saw a story that said that they were almost begging Fox to buy them.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, whatever, but I'm just saying, Prince finally came out and said that.
Right, it was like
they wanted Fox to buy, but it was too much. So they did licensing instead.
Right, they wanted Fox to buy the company outright and everything, but then Fox said, "Okay, what's your price?" And they said what the price was, and Fox probably rightly said, "I think you should go fuck yourself." So yeah.
And those two are they were making fun of WWE for booking the same matches over and over. And then we got the Usos versus the New Day on SmackDown 2 days after this podcast comes out, and they're making fun of WWE for the same fucking matches all the time. And then they go out and do it.
Yep. That's what they've been doing the past 3.5 years. Very repetitive. Hey. Even when storylines are done, they go back to the same people.
Hey, I've got a great idea. Great idea for a match for the Royal Rumble. What if we get the Usos to wrestle the New Day?
Sure.
I'm going to say that was the punchline. He had nothing else to add there. So.
They have no idea how to long-term storytell at this point. They have zero clue how to do any kind of long-term storytelling. AEW knows how to do that. WWE has no clue how to long-term. And I'm not saying AEW, everything they do is right, because it's not. So but
WWE only has one storyline that they've really put a shitload of effort into it, and that's Roman Reigns.
Yep.
That's really it. That's the only story that really matters on any of those shows.
Because the rumor has now surfaced that Rollins was supposed to win it day one. Rollins might beat Roman at Royal Rumble now.
Well,
if he beats Roman at Royal Rumble, it's going to be because of Heyman, I think. I have a feeling that'll be happening.
And what's this? I also saw that Seth basically turned face after the cameras stopped running.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Also the way that Rick Steiner got in the ring after the camera stopped running on NXT the other night. They wouldn't show that on TV for some reason, but
yeah, because they don't want they don't want the casual fans to know that is a Steiner. They want to keep it as Braun Breaker. It is what it is. It's whatever. Go by Braun Breaker, go by Braun Breaker. It was cool that his dad was there, and was first time in over 10 years his dad was there, step foot in a WWE show or arena for shit. So I mean that was cool.
And then this is also a little bit onto the I don't get it aspect, but at the same time, it's not something that I would really complain about. So Mickie James is going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
The current
yeah,
reigning
she won last night too.
Still reigning, I'd say now.
Yep, she won.
Impact Women's Champion, which makes me go, okay, so they came to an agreement, and the fact that Mickie James would even want any part of working for WWE again
after what they did to her
last year.
I think this is why I think they're giving her a good payday to show up a Royal Rumble, and they're trying to make good on how they treated her when she got exited, when they got rid of her with the sending her shit and garbage bags and all that stuff.
Yeah, I suppose that's a possibility. I guess what I also
that's the only thing I can really think.
Yeah, I guess the other thing that I really have to wonder about then, is she going to be on camera with the belt?
I highly doubt it. I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah,
the only way that happens is if she sneaks it in and she has like a robe. She changes like her ring attire and has it underneath her like robe or something. It comes out and then takes it off, and then you see the belt, and she takes the belt off and whatever. Otherwise, I doubt it. I don't think they're going to go that far.
She was actually the only person that they announced that was a good thing, because everybody else that they announced was not a good thing. So I don't really want to see all these old. It's bad enough that I have to see 40-year-old men every year. Now I got to see 40-year-old women and the fucking Bellas. So,
well, yeah,
I'll take Lita, and she could still wrestle, but the other ones like what Kelly and whatnot, I could care less about them.
I've always thought Kelly was fun to look at, but obviously she was, she wasn't a wrestler. I mean, and
correct.
That's not a knock on her, because she wasn't a wrestler, but in a way that's also it's a little sad that
you have enough talent in NXT to pull them and just put them in there.
Right. That's my point, is that their women's roster right now is so lacking due to a combination of releases and injuries, because Bayley's not back yet. Sounds like Sasha's going to be out for longer than the Rumble
6 to 8 weeks
away and stuff like that. And so it sounds like that's also now why Charlotte's going to be in the Rumble match. It seems like they seem to have a decided lack of numbers and you know what? This is going to sound sexist or whatever. If you have to rely on bringing in that many former wrestlers, you can do a 20-woman Royal Rumble, and it's not going to be lesser. It'll be lesser in number, but that doesn't mean it has to be lesser in quality.
Correct.
Bayley could be in the Royal Rumble, so I wouldn't rule her out yet.
I think she's training right now, right?
She's that surprise person that could kind of save the Royal Rumble, because the Royal Rumble right now is screaming train wreck. The women's one, at least for sure. So if Bayley is in that match, she can save some face, because it is weird that they're putting Charlotte in the match, even though she's the champion and she's not defending the title in it. So
no. So
right, she's defending. She's defending like her ability to choose her own opponent, I guess.
Yes.
Call it. Which is a little convoluted, but at the same time, it's not the worst thing they could do. I mean, like having Charlotte in the Women's Royal Rumble match isn't going to make the match worse. So
no, it's
not
help a depleted situation probably. So
yeah, I mean, it theoretically cheapens the stipulation, but it only really does that if you let it. There's
correct.
Ways that you could there are ways you could book it where you don't have to make it so. The problem is I don't really trust WWE to not do that these days.
Yeah, Charlotte doesn't need to win. She doesn't need to win. This is
right now. That's the thing. If Charlotte does win that match, it will be bad.
Yeah, she doesn't need to move. This is
because she's already won the yeah, she's already won the damn Women's Royal Rumble match.
Hi, Jeremy.
And she doesn't need to win it as champion, because that will then cheapen the stipulation, but you're also squandering the opportunity to try to figure out, like, okay, it's your turn, which is what the Royal Rumble is always supposed to be about.
I feel like it's going to be Becky and Bianca and Charlotte and Sasha. I feel like those are going to be the title matches at WrestleMania.
So, you could do worse.
Yeah.
You could do worse than that. So
maybe Bayley, Sasha, and Charlotte in a 3-way. If you can get those 3 and put them in a 3-way, that would be fine too. So
yeah, that would work. That would definitely be working.
They don't trust anybody that's not 4 Horsewomen or Bianca. WWE doesn't trust anybody that's not one of those 5 women right now.
No.
And that's largely their own fault.
True.
So.
We just figured we were talking about wrestling first, Jeremy. So we didn't want to talk about football until you got on. So
That's right. Later we'll talk about your mama.
Oh, if you really want to do that, that's fine. More power to you.
So speaking of football, well,
She's a wonderful lady.
I mean, not really necessarily like speaking of football, but I meant to mention this at the top, but we kind of started talking about other things. As the resident Dark Lord of the Sith, I must apologize to all our viewers for the recent chaos in the world and rash of celebrity deaths. But when again you are the reigning Dark Lord of the Sith, that is your responsibility. So,
Oh my God.
I apologize for the recent passings of John Madden and Betty White and Sidney Poitier and Bob Saget and whoever else has passed away since we last spoke with you. It's been a rough few weeks.
The new Grim Reaper. Thanks a lot, jerk.
Joe, are you the one that posted that SI list? Was that you?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I was.
Okay.
I did.
I was the one who posted the comment.
Yes, and Pat, your comment is warranted. So,
What comment did you put? Wait, hold on a second.
He put Cody. Cody has no business being on that list.
Oh.
And one of my Yankee blog friends posted a comment on there today questioning the inclusion of Bianca, which I totally glossed over when I glanced at it. Like, I didn't even notice her name was on the list.
If they want to put her on the list, that's fine, but she should be 7 and Britt Baker should be 3. Those 2 women should be flip-flopped at least. Like, Britt had a better year than Bianca did. She had the belt almost the whole year. So
right. It's like, I understand.
Right,
I understand why they put Bianca on the list, but I had to agree with my friend's comment where it's basically like, well, since SummerSlam, her year was shit. So,
all right. So let's break down this. Since you brought it up,
okay,
and since it is posted on our Facebook page by Joe just decided to post this. So let's break it down. So we got the top 10 wrestlers of 2021 by Sports Illustrated.
I don't know who a couple of the guys on there are, so we're gonna leave them alone, and I'm gonna assume that they're where they're supposed to be.
I can tell you about those guys.
Okay, so in the top 10 of Sports Illustrated, like, I don't even know why Sports Illustrated is doing this, because this is
they're also pro WWE. They're 100% pro WWE. There's no doubt in my mind after looking at this list. They are pro WWE. So
SI does a lot of stuff on wrestling, but yeah.
So number 10, we got Jonathan Grashman, Jonathan Grashman, who is from Ring of Honor and Terminus. I don't know anything about him, never heard his name. So Joe, you're going to have to weigh in and say, does he deserve
Yes, he deserves to be in the top 10. To me, yes. Okay. Absolutely.
All right. And then you got Josh Alexander, who is on Impact. Once again, don't know him.
He deserves
to be on there.
So
he should be ahead of Cody.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I would put Cody 10. Right. And the other 2
I wouldn't even put Cody on the list. I think Seth Rollins should be on there over Cody. So
speaking of Cody, at number 8, you have Cody Rhodes, who is, as we know, part of AEW. Everything I hear from everybody is he is pretty much got no crowd reaction for the most part.
No, he's getting booed out of the building.
Booed.
Oh, okay. So is that booed for a good reason or for a bad reason? Like, booed because they don't want to see him because they're tired of him?
Baron Corbin go away heat right now. Like, everybody wants him to turn heel, and he doesn't. He's like pulling a John Cena. I don't want to turn heel.
Well, he could pull the newer John Cena and just walk away from wrestling and still say he's like WWE's his life, which is he's full of fucking shit. So, but anyways, that's another topic for another day.
Well, that is what he's been doing to a certain extent, though.
Yeah, but I haven't seen
all right.
Cody in anything, so evidently he's not doing very well at that.
He's doing his
let's-
reality show, and he's doing that.
The big show.
The big
whatever
whatever.
dump show.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that like game show type. I don't even know what you
Big
call it,
over the
but-
top show, whatever it's called.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even care what it is. That's just
Okay.
Let's get through the list
then,
first.
Yeah. So number 7, we got Dr. Britt Baker, who is also part of AEW. Now, I hear a lot of good things about her, so I'm going to assume that she is worthy of being in the top 10 at number 7.
She should be higher, but yes.
Okay.
I
number
would say
6.
I would say she's the most entertaining female character in all of wrestling now.
Yes.
And then at number 6, which this one I can tell you I definitely do not agree with, you got Big E from the WWE. I know people love Big E and what he does and his, shtick, but I don't see putting him.
Not me and you, Jeremy.
his overall, in my personal opinion, his overall as a wrestler, as his gimmick, it just is not it's not entertaining anymore, and he's not a good enough wrestler to hold a number 6 spot, in my personal opinion.
I agree, Jeremy. He shouldn't. I don't think he should be on this list either.
What about you, Joe and Darth Pat?
I've always generally liked Biggie. It's like they give him a title reign and make it kind of meaningless in the end, but didn't really expect any less. So
Yeah,
I mean, I see why he's on there.
I mean, one of the wrestling blogs I go to talked about his reign as champion and mentioned how he was champion for like 4 or 5 pay-per-views and
he had more losses than wins.
Right. So it's like, even if you're the biggest Big E fan in the world, how the fuck are you supposed to take him seriously as champion when he gets booked to lose more often than he wins?
Yeah,
that don't make any sense. But
that's your
WWE, so
that's your 2021 WWE booking.
Yeah.
And then at number 5, we got Bryan Danielson. I agree with that.
Yeah, he
just
belongs.
Because
he belongs on this list. Even though he missed 3 months, he's had good matches in AEW.
And sandwiched around his time off, he main evented WrestleMania and he made a pretty big impact in AEW. And then
he belongs on there for sure.
Yeah.
And then number 4, we got Shingo Tagagi.
Yes.
He belongs on there too. He belongs on there too. I don't know a lot about him, but there's always going to be at least 1 or 2 New Japan wrestlers in the top 10 list. If it's this guy, if it's Okada, it's Ospreay, whoever they want to put on there, it's fine. So
and he is from New Japan. So, and then number 3, which I definitely do not agree with, but I'm a little biased towards this person. It's number 3 is Bianca Belair. And it's just because I personally just don't like her gimmick. I think she's got talent in the ring, but I just don't like her gimmick. That's a personal preference.
If they want to flip-flop her and Britt, that's fine. Bianca had enough of a year that if they're going to put 2 women on the list, it probably should be Britt and Bianca, because Charlotte missed part of the year, so you can't. It's harder with Charlotte. So they could have just flip-flopped Britt and Bianca, and I think that fixes that. I don't like Bianca either, but if you want to put her in the lower part of the top 10, that's fine. Pat alluded to it already. I think Britt Baker was the best female wrestler in all of wrestling last year. I think she deserves to be in the top 5, not just because I like her, because she's done a really good job at what she's supposed to be doing. So
yeah, and that's why these top 10 lists are hard for me, because I have personal bias that doesn't allow me to get past that and be impartial.
I try.
I think AJ's rubbing off on you. That's horrible.
No. Yeah, but
you were Bobby Heenan announcing the 1992 Royal Rumble.
I'll take that. I like Bobby Heenan.
I would have to say that I think by ranking Bianca number 3 is that they were overrating the significance of her main eventing and winning the title at WrestleMania and everything. But again, like my friend posted on our page again, as I just already said, since SummerSlam, she's been kind of getting the shit end of the stick in a lot of ways.
I mean,
so.
most things I've seen, the best women's match of the year was Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa in the Lights Out match. That's the women's match I've mentioned the most as a match of the year contender. There's not really been, I guess the best women's match I saw was probably Becky and Sasha and Bianca at the Crown Jewel. That was probably the best women's match I saw this year, and I don't even like two of the people in it. So if I was going to pick a WWE match, that would probably be it. But like I said, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker is the women's match I've seen mentioned the most as far as a match of the year from the women's side.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I would never watch that Crown Jewel match. So,
all right, and then number 2, we got Kenny Omega with AEW. Very fitting.
He should be. He carried the belt for the year.
I think he should be number 1. So I think that they dropped the ball on that one too.
And then we've got at number 1 Roman Reigns from WWE, which if you're gonna put him there, even if they're pro WWE, it makes sense just because of the fact that he has pretty much carried that company. That is the only reason a lot of people, well, in my personal opinion, is a lot of people let me try that again. Are still watching is because of Roman and the fact that he turned heel. He's the only good thing that WWE seems to have going right now as far as a heel, a legit heel. Not to say that Seth Rollins isn't a good heel, he is, but I think more people tune in for Roman Reigns than they do for Seth Rollins.
And I like Roman Reigns. I like Roman
this is the best Roman we've ever seen too.
But Kenny won 3 belts this year. It's hard to argue with winning 3 belts, and Kenny was in matches of the year. Roman Reigns' closest thing to a match of the year was the WrestleMania main event, and that's top 10 maybe. So that's where the problem comes in for me. Kenny was in better matches, and Kenny won 3 belts. So somewhere in that matters. So
it does. I keep it the way it is. Honestly, for me, I'd keep Roman first. I'm fine with that. Kenny second.
I mean, I think I'd probably put Roman slightly ahead of Omega, but no, I mean not by much. You know.
Yeah,
they were clearly both the most important people to their company. So
did we talk about weekends yet? Did you guys talk about your weekends?
We briefly touched on stuff. Nothing.
We talked about
major
stuff that happened since we last came to our fans.
So I think I wanted to, since I haven't seen you guys talk to you guys in a while, and we haven't done a podcast in a while.
Well, that's your fault. So.
Well, I know that's my fault. Well, and you can kiss my patootie.
Which before you continue,
we had a holiday break. It's all right.
I'm just wondering if you listened to the end of the last one, because Pat was kind of taking pot shots at you at the end of the last one. And
I did not have a chance to listen to it, and I'll have to go back and beat Pat's ass.
I don't know what you are talking about.
So he did it to Joe, and now he's done it to you, Jeremy.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
You kind of made some allusions to Jeremy not being on there, and you made allutions to that at the end of the last one.
I was there in spirit.
Oh,
I carry this goddamn show, don't you know?
Was I? Oh, that's right. Okay, I kind of remember. I don't remember by much though, because my memory is about as good as
Giants offense.
There you go, Giants offense.
You were actually smart, Pat, in hindsight, because you did it like 3 weeks ago. So it's yesterday's news, and Jeremy didn't even listen to it yet. So
yeah, I mean, we had a lot of stuff go on since then. There was Christmas, there was New Year's, there was lots of movies. Too many trips to New Jersey for me. That's really starting to take a toll on me.
Sorry, Pat. Watching Notre Dame meltdown. Sorry.
Well, I didn't see it. I didn't see that part of it. I left at about halftime because I was going to see a movie that day, so I pretty much missed the entire meltdown. Yeah. Still haven't won a major bowl game since before I hit my teenage years. So seriously, their last major bowl win was like the 93 Cotton Bowl. So I mean,
Oh, geez, really?
Yeah.
I mean, they've won
Was that
some
long
bowl
ago?
games, but they haven't won any major bowl games. You know,
They've generally gotten their ass whooped in those major bowl games.
yeah. Whether it's the Fiesta Bowl against Oregon State, the Fiesta Bowl against Ohio State, the Sugar Bowl against Jamarcus Russell and LSU, the national championship game against Alabama. It's like it just goes on and on and on. So
It's okay.
Yeah.
So, did you have a story for us, Jeremy?
Well, yeah.
Did
So
you,
I've had
did
quite
you want to
the
share something?
Well, yeah. If you can't tell from my new background,
It's
I
different.
am no longer in my bedroom. I have now taken over the downstairs room.
I was say, did you kick somebody out?
Yes, we did. So that's part of my story. So, Christmas and New Year's kind of sucked, and because my family came down with COVID. We were COVID quarantining. So instead of going to my parents and enjoying Christmas with them, being able to see my father-in-law and his wife, and then on the following day being able to see my sister-in-law and everybody like that, we were quarantining. So it kind of sucked ass. That lasted all the way for me until I went back to work on last Monday. So that sucked. And my wife just finally got off of quarantining essentially today, so to say. So yeah, it kind of sucked. But yes, I did kick somebody out. My oldest kid has finally left the roost and is living on her own. She's renting a house, a little 1-bedroom house. So she is finally out on her own. So I confiscated the room and now made this my made this my office / podcasting room. So I have my own room, so the wife can go to bed when she wants to on those late podcasting nights. Doesn't have to wait for me to get out of the room.
Oh, that means you're going to clutter that room with that wall behind you with some green shit, aren't you?
Oh yeah, you better believe it. Yep, I'm gonna buy the shelves, and you're gonna see a whole bunch of Star Wars Legos behind you.
Oh, cool. That works right there.
Maybe I'll put an Eagles curtain in that window that you see there. That one.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I'll put an Eagles curtain there for you.
Oh boy. Ay.
So, how old is your oldest again? I've lost
23.
Well,
23.
17 fucking years.
Oh,
and
kick them out early, Pat. You kick them out early. Got to kick them out early.
And you, sir, better be really, really fucking grateful about that.
I have a feeling my middle child's going to be the one that lives with us forever.
I was about to say, because she just set an example for your two youngest.
Pat, we should have a talk with your parents to see why they didn't kick you out earlier. Shit. You need to have a talk with your parents, Pat. See why they didn't kick you out earlier.
Why didn't my parents kick me out earlier? Well, that would have been a little heartless. I mean, I couldn't afford to live on my own at 24.
Man.
Well, I failed college, was working shit jobs. And yeah.
It's all right, Darth Pat. We understand, man. It's all
good.
You should have found that stripper roommate. You would have been fine.
It's like I can't wait to see what my rent gonna look like come lease renewal time. I knew I should have signed a 2-year lease, but I didn't.
So now it's halftime of the football game, so I got to wait for that bad boy to come back on.
Football.
Going back to wrestling real quick.
Yeah,
I did post another thing on here. Oh fuck, where'd it go? Oh yeah, right here. I had to scroll the opposite direction.
The thing that I forgot that your friend Shane, I hope he was joking when he said Sting should have been on that list. I hope he was joking, because there is no way Sting had any business being on that list.
I did not interpret that as a joke. I'm thinking that was sincerity, and I was saying to myself,
Listen, when it comes to Shane, it is very challenging at times to know when he's being serious and when he's being a sarcastic jerk. Funny as it may be, but yeah, he could be just being sarcastic ass and posting it on there, or he could be serious. I didn't follow up with him on that question.
Because
I just laughed at the comment.
Sting wrestled with 5 so like he really had no business being on that list, like at all.
I'm sure he was joking, unless he's a Sting mark and really just thinks Sting should be on every list ever. You know, that's
Like I'm a Sting mark, and I'm not going to put Sting on there.
I mean, when it comes to like, acting sarcastic and this and the other thing, I am always very much of the opinion of if you can do the sympathy for the devil routine when it comes to sarcasm, or but what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. That is the way to go. But it's there's differences between sarcasm verbally and sarcasm in text, and obviously sarcasm in text is much harder to detect. So most of the sarcasm game is verbal. So
are you referring to the post with the Young Bucks generation?
No.
Oh.
No. This has to do with Forbidden Doors, technically, kind of, sort of, not really. So there was a post that Laurinaitis is talking to Tony Khan, and people started getting like an uproar about the Forbidden Door, and I was like, pump your brakes. It's only an agreement so they can use some of the former WWE wrestlers in biographies that they want to do. That's all it is. It's like people are getting like super excited about this. And like Vince is never going to allow any type of Forbidden Door in that. Yeah, he's letting Mickey James, wrestle in the Royal Rumble, but they already had a working agreement with Christian back in the day when I think TNA put Christian in their Hall of Fame, and he was working for WWE, and he showed up on a TNA show. Whatever. It's not going to go that far into the Forbidden Door. But what I did post was in Japan does this. I think this is cool. And I think either AEW needs to do this with New Japan or Impact, or I don't know, NWA, maybe when Ring of Honor, restarts back up in April. But New Japan and Noah, the other top promotion in Japan, they do a show where it's company versus company, and they do 11 matches, and it just finished the other day. New Japan won 6 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. And this takes your top singles, tag teams, and puts them in matches. And just, I've watched some of it, and the matches, there's guys in both promotions I really like, and just watching it, it's just fucking awesome. And the fans just benefit, and you're going to make a shitload of money off of it too. It's just one of those things where I feel like one of these American promotions really need to kind of like sit down and seriously talk about this. Like if you're going to do it as a pay-per-view, or you're going to do it as like some, weekly special, or do it one show a month or something, and have several matches that lead up to something. These are something you can figure out to do this, because I think it's awesome. I think it'd benefit both companies that do it. I think it's something cool. As if New Japan can if 2 companies that are technically kind of rivals, there's been some heat between those 2, like backstage with like the people who own it. And if they're able to come to a gentleman's agreement and do this, there's no reason why the American companies can't do it.
Yeah,
I think it's just a benefit.
It helps all the promotions in general.
And the matchups you can get is just awesome. Like I would love to see Deonna Purrazzo like fight Britt Baker. I love Deonna in Impact, and her and Britt Baker I think will be a good match. Now that'd be something I would love to see as far as one aspect of it.
I think that's great that that ROH is going to start up again.
I believe they will.
I mean, because I personally have my doubts. So,
I mean, ROH had on the Hard to Kill pay-per-view last night for TNA, they ROH champion defending his title against Saban. He won. And then some of the former ROH members, Canales and whatnot, and some of the Michael Canales and Murray, they invaded last night after one of the matches. So from everything I've been reading in the interviews, Sinclair is still backing ROH. They were being a good company, and they were paying their employees while they weren't wrestling, and while they weren't able to have a lot of live shows and stuff like that. So they were trying to do the right thing, and they just couldn't afford it. So they're taking a hiatus, and they're going to revamp a couple things. So we'll see. It's supposed to come back in April. From everything I'm reading, it's going to happen. So I'm hoping it does.
I still want the Briscoes in AEW though.
Just to interject here,
Yeah.
Cook just caught a bomb from Herbert.
Good.
Like the
So,
Chargers are
Pat-
going down the field right now pretty easily.
Pat,
Good. That's what I want to see.
Right. Every time I see Otis, he reminds me of somebody, and I finally figured out who. He reminds me of Chubbs from Teen Wolf.
Oh,
The guy that
really?
the fat guy that does the hook shot from the original movie.
I haven't seen the original movie in so long I can't even picture.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That kind of rings a bell. That definitely rings a bell.
I thought Pat would remember that movie for sure.
It's been a long time since I've seen Teen Wolf.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen it too, but
yeah, it's not something that I've like watched like over and over again. So
me neither. I probably haven't watched that movie since the 90s, but I remember Chubbs from that movie. That's definitely who Otis reminds me of for sure. So
hey, something else, just to kind of change subjects a little bit again and talk about like our weekend. We mentioned about it snowing and the big thing. I finally got my first indication, I guess, of what it's going to be like when it does snow here and they start like treating the roads and the parking lots here at my apartment complex.
that can be fun. I got snowed in
Did
one
he?
time to go to work one time because they didn't plow.
Yeah, I didn't get snowed in because I brought my computer home with me Thursday night and worked from home on Friday. I pretty much just had it in my mind that no matter how much it snowed, I was just not going to bother because, again, like everybody else was like out of the office anyway because of the COVID test we had in my office. But they started fairly early, and by fairly early I mean like around midnight-ish, or maybe a little earlier than that because it did start snowing around 8 o'clock Friday night or Thursday night. But I found out that when they come around and start plowing in this complex, it's really loud.
That would make sense.
The volume of the plows, trucks, whatever there was that they were using all throughout the place, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 50. And the greatest thing about it was that they did it multiple times throughout the night, and every single time something else came past, it instantly woke me up. So, yay.
It sounds like Pat, you're a little bit of a bitch. And I think you need to suck it up.
The problem is I don't sleep well to begin with. So that's my only concern. Seriously, when I was talking to my family about this, my older sister said, "You should file a noise complaint." And I went,
"Oh my God.
What? I'm supposed to complain about the noise that the people are making who are treating the roadways and clearing it of snow and ice? Yeah, I'm sure they'll get right on that."
And they're not going to do shit.
The first thing they'll be like, "Okay, we just won't plow you out. We'll leave your car there."
I'm not that fucking stupid.
Shovel it out yourself, asshole. That's what you would get.
Oh yeah, like the plows would stop and go around. They'd be like, "Okay, what's the list? Okay, so push all the snow in front of that space."
That's you hopping around your snow shovel.
I was gonna say, is somebody happy to see me?
Oh boy,
that was last night.
Nobody was happy to see me last night.
Oh, jeez. You need some white noise in your life, Patrick.
Yes,
I do.
He needs some vagina in his life. What are you talking about?
It's amazing what white noise does. Like when you work in an office, like a call center, and I know two of you have done the call center business. It's amazing how white noise really does really dull everybody else's voices around you. the only people you really have a problem with are the people that really carry, like voices like extremely carry.
This is
Well, I
what you
mean,
need, Patrick. This sound right here.
I mean, that's why when I'm at my office, I mean, I usually have my headphone in and I'm listening to
Death metal.
a podcast, or I put something on. I'm not really like watching it, but I'm like I just have it on to listen to it, and I do find that it actually does help me stay on task of what I'm doing, because it filters out other things. So not
So
that
that
I
means
work
you're really not working then, right?
not that I work in a loud office or anything, but it just helps to just keep distractions down. So
All right, I gotta pause this. All right, so they just gave an update. All right, so since it's the last game of the weekend, the late game, so they just gave an update. So I'm gonna run this down real quick, and you guys can we'll go over our opinions of who's gonna win. So AFC still up for grabs as far as like who's gonna play who, but because it depends on who wins this game, where they fall as far as seeding. But the Bengals are either playing New England or Las Vegas, and the Bills are either playing the Chargers or New England. So it's like a toss-up. Where's New England going to fall? Are they going to fall in the 5 or the 6? So that'll be interesting. But the Eagles are playing the Bucks. I'm not so sure about that one.
Have fun.
The 49ers are playing the Cowboys. The 49ers are going to destroy the Cowboys are going to destroy the 49ers. That's going to suck. And,
Possibly.
Oh, and it is a toss-up still with Las Vegas, too, because Las Vegas could end up being the 6 or the 7. It's either going to be Pittsburgh or Las Vegas playing the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think I thought if the Chargers win their end and if the Vegas is in their end, Pittsburgh's already in.
as far as I understand, this Chargers Raiders game, it's whoever wins is in. That's what I read last night.
Yeah. Whoever wins is in. Whoever loses out, and Pittsburgh takes that spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless there's a tie.
It's kind of weird how they put it, because they have in the 5. So here's how they have it. It's really, like I said, it's really weird. At the 7, they have either the Chargers or Pittsburgh. Then at the 5, I'm sorry, not the Chargers or Pittsburgh. Let me fix that. Either the Raiders or Pittsburgh. But they also have the Raiders at the 5 too. Them or New England. And they have the Chargers at 6 or New England at 6.
Well,
so I guess if the Chargers win, they end up being the 6. New England's the 5.
Yeah,
and Pittsburgh's the 7.
If
the Chargers win, if the Raiders win, they end up being the 7. New England's the 5, and the Chargers are the 6.
No, Pittsburgh's in.
Pittsburgh will be 7 no matter what it looks like.
Yeah, so they got this thing screwed up on ESPN. So either Las Vegas.
Go somewhere else then. Go to Bleacher Report or go to.
Yeah, I got to go to somewhere else, because they got Las Vegas in 2 different spots, and it's either they're going to be the 5 or out. It seems, which doesn't make sense either.
Well, I'm on ESPN right now, but that's not what I'm seeing.
If the game ends up in a tie, Pittsburgh's out.
Yeah, that's the only way Pittsburgh's out, is if the Chargers and the Raiders tie.
Yeah.
Which isn't likely. So
this is what they're showing on the wild card weekend thing. So weird. So what are you seeing, Darth Pat?
Well, I just clicked on the NFL. It's on the main page. If you go to ESPN.com right now, and it's like live tracking the NFL playoff picture. Chargers, Raiders, and Steelers still alive for final 2 spots. And it just saying here projected AFC playoff standings, and it mentions 1 Tennessee, 2 Kansas City, 3 Buffalo, 4 Cincinnati, 5 New England, and as of right now, it says 6 Chargers and 7 Pittsburgh. It mentions for the Chargers will make the playoffs if they win or tie, but a loss eliminates them. For Pittsburgh, it mentions that to reach the playoffs, Pittsburgh needs Sunday night's Chargers-Raiders game to not end in a tie. And then for the Raiders, who are currently projected outside, it says the Raiders can clinch the playoffs with either a win or a tie. So, yeah. And then
I need to see what happens after this game because if Pittsburgh's in no matter what, unless it's a tie, I don't know how Las Vegas can be a 5 or a 7 seed. That makes no sense.
I feel
It
like
should be a 5 or a 6 then.
so
I
long,
mean, it's
like-
a 6 or a 7.
so long as this Chargers Raiders game doesn't end in a tie, Pittsburgh's the 7, and the top 4 are set to with Tennessee, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati. For New England, it mentions they will be either the 5 or 6 seed, but it doesn't say.
So tiebreaker's division record. So if there's a tie, then they go to division record.
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense when they're going to compare teams that don't play in the same division.
I know it's stupid, but I remember many, many years ago, the Browns got in over the Broncos one year because the Broncos had beaten the Browns head to head, and the Browns got in because they had a better division record. The first tiebreaker is division record. It's not if you play each other head to head. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
So-
that is.
Yeah, I think that's when they
that's
used to have
ridiculous.
that's when they used to have the point differential as a tiebreaker too.
But
I
that's
think they
usually
went to
like
division.
point differential was usually one of like the last tiebreakers, though.
Yeah, but it did happen where that was
No,
significant. Yeah, but no, it's they've all the old shitty tiebreakers. Most of them are gone. So New England is what? They are 3-3 in their division, and the Chargers and Raiders are 3-2, and the Raiders are 2-3.
Well,
So
that's all.
I guess the Chargers win. Well, no, wait. Yeah,
So,
Chargers
yeah,
win.
but the
They go 10-7, and they'll have a better division record because New England's 3-3, and the Chargers are currently 4-3. They would go to
They're 3-2. They would go to 4-2.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. It's just
I'm
weird.
sorry,
like,
4-2. I was ranting.
It's just
Yeah,
weird how
record,
Las
yeah.
Vegas is either like what throws me off in this whole thing where they show is Las Vegas either being the 5 or the 7 seed depending on what happens after this game, and the Chargers are the 6 no matter what. Like so weird the way that they do these things, how they figure this shit out.
Well, if
Sometimes
there's
it
a tie,
befuddles me.
if there's a tie, San Diego would be the 6 and the Raiders would be the 7 if the game ends in a tie.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know.
No.
So
It's almost like
The
Chargers
Jags
should
won
be
today.
The 6 no matter what.
The Jags beat the Colts. I mean, fuck.
I didn't even know they
I mean-
still had. I didn't even know they still had ties.
I'm glad that Pittsburgh is going to probably get in. It's nice to see Big Ben get in his last
Yeah.
year. So
No, I agree.
Uh,
It's not gonna they're not gonna go anywhere because
No,
they just
but
haven't had any kind of season that tells you they're gonna be good in the playoffs.
it's nice to see Big Ben get in.
So it's interesting. I got to talk about yesterday and the
I've
Eagles
liked
yesterday.
Big Ben the whole time, Pat. So
I've liked him at
His
times,
characters
but-
come into question at times.
Yes, thank you. That's the one part you cannot overlook.
Yeah.
All right, what happened yesterday, Jeremy?
So the Eagles. So I don't know if any of you guys watched the Eagles game yesterday. Probably not.
I did.
I guess not.
I
Okay.
did.
Well, I knew Darth Pat didn't.
I watched football in general, so that's fine.
But
I watched it.
it was interesting to
Most of
watch
it.
as an Eagles fan watching the hated Cowboys beat your team. But it was funny because the Cowboys are like going ape shit. And the whole entire time, except for the fourth quarter finally, they played their starters because they were trying to get that second seed, which they didn't get anyways, which is funny. Like, oh, we won. You didn't get the second seed
Hey,
anyway, so you're still in the same boat.
Tampa wasn't losing today. I mean, they're not the Colts. So
Well, I mean, I at least they went for it.
Yeah, they did go for it. But it's just funny how hype, like they were acting like, ooh, man, look at us. We could score. We scored 51 points. Yeah, you scored 51 points on second and third string players.
I know.
So
What
who
a-
really cares? You know?
One of the guys I'm friends with on Facebook is a Cowboys fan. He was ranting and raving about it. And I'm like, what? You have bragging rights because you swept the whole division. And I'm like, you just blew out fucking second and third stringers. Yeah, they're NFL pros, but you just blew out second and third stringers when you had your first string team in and went for no fucking reason
that's why
at halftime.
all four of us will be rooting against the Cowgirls next weekend. So.
Oh yeah, I really want the 49ers to win. Do I think it'll happen? Not with the season they've been having, but they must have won last night because I think it was a win or don't get in kind of
No, they
situation.
won today
They won today.
Yeah,
I mean.
they won today in overtime.
in overtime.
They they played well too. I watched that game.
I feel vindicated because if you recall when we did like I guess it was our mid-season like NFL thing 7-8 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago.
I was off by 1 win.
I said I'm going to go out on a limb and say the 49ers will make the playoffs. So I'm glad that they vindicated me in the end. But to say that I will be rooting for them, let's pump the brakes a little bit here. I understand they're playing the Cowboys here, but they're still the fucking 49ers. And when I was first becoming cognizant of football and really first started.
So that's
what's the lesser of two evils?
That's a blow up the stadium game, right, Pat?
Yes, the two teams that were introduced to me as basically being the Giants' biggest rivals were the racial slurs and the 49ers, not the Cowboys.
Racial slurs.
not the Cowboys and the Eagles. The other two were like more of like bigger rivals for the Giants at the time. Then the Eagles started winning again, and a few years later the Cowboys started winning again. But I'm just saying. So it's like I ain't rooting for the 49ers. You know, would I rather see the 49ers win than the Cowboys? Yes. But I will not root for them. I have principles.
You have principles.
Yeah, whatever.
And those principles.
The dark side has principles.
And those principles are basically if the stadium should explode.
Yep. On Christmas Day, when we were over in Nicole's sister's house, her mom and my brother-in-law were down watching the Clowns Fudge Packers game, and I walked downstairs and I said, "You know what this is? This is what I call a blow up the stadium game." And they both just kind of looked at me, and I just walked back upstairs.
And you know what? I'm gonna just say this: if you're in a setting with like other people, whether it's like like a private, family get together function like that, or you're like let's say like out in public, like at a restaurant or a sports bar or something, and you refer to a game as a blow up the stadium special, or whatever nickname you want to give it. Like I remember you once called it a Pat special. But everything like that. But if you like refer to a game as that in front of other people and they look at you like you're the weirdo, just walk away. Because if they can't understand that concept, they are not a true sports fan, and they have not developed their freaking hatreds and rivalries with other teams that are the rivals to their teams that they should have, and that means they are not a true sports fan, and therefore
Okay, Pat.
no opinion's worth giving.
Oh man.
Are you going to tell me if you feel even more than that? Or was that about it?
Well, I feel my heart rate increasing a little bit right now, so I should probably take it down.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have to say, it was very interesting this last week or so leading up to this game. To hear the local sports radio shows like jump on the Jalen Hurts bandwagon, like, oh, Jalen Hurts, he's so good, he's this, he's that. It's amazing what he's been able to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like all of a sudden everybody loves the guy. So I'm like, all right, great, whatever.
It was just remarkable because I know specifically listening to WIP, which is right out of Philadelphia, they were ridiculing. I don't want to say ridiculing, but they were definitely not on the Jalen Hurts is going to be something special bandwagon. And
does it surprise you? This is your Eagle sports people. 1 minute they love you, and next minute they want to fucking bury you in hell.
It's just unbelievable how they like some of them have flipped script to Jalen Hurts. I could like the one guy. He went as far as saying Jalen Hurts. I see him winning a Super Bowl here in his career. I'm like, whoa, what? Like. He just said in his career. He didn't say with the Eagles. He just said in his career. I'm just like, he's going to have to be on a really good team. Like, he's going to have a hell of a lot of weapons.
It's kind of silly to say that about anybody, really, when you come right down to it, because the odds are just against you. Just You know,
Yeah, it's tough to win a Super Bowl, regardless.
right?
Unless you're Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Man. He's the exception, though.
Hey, he's lost 3 too. So I mean, you know.
Yeah, no, I know.
But yeah, it's just crazy because I mean I've watched enough Eagles games and enough Jalen Hurts Eagles games to know that if you watch, like, you can watch quarterbacks, if you watch them, you can tell they're making a read on the field. They're doing progression, and they're doing it fast. You know, they were just showing Herbert. Okay, he was in the pocket. He had a 3-second pocket. Okay, before he threw the ball, he went through 3 different reads before he threw the football in 3 seconds. That's 1. Okay, nope. 2, nope. Oh, 3. Here it is. If you watch Jalen Hurts, it's a stare down the guy I'm going to throw to, and that's who I throw to.
He still hasn't learned that concept yet.
Yeah,
He doesn't do it that often. He doesn't do it consistently.
That's a surefire way to not have success as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, and the thing that I don't get about it is leading up to this previous week where they started like praising him, it was, when is he going to start understanding the game better? When is he going to start being able to read defenses better? When is he going to start making read progression? And it's like, how many games do you need to give a guy before you say he may not have it to be a starting quarterback and be a successful starting quarterback in this league? You know, that you need to, to be the kind of quarterback you need. I don't care. It's not like he doesn't have to be the prototypical quarterback. He doesn't need to be the pocket passer quarterback that's very immobile. He can be a mobile quarterback, and he can do stuff on the run. We've seen other quarterbacks be very successful like that. Have they won Super Bowls? Not necessarily, but the stereotypical, prototypical quarterback is changing. But I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy that's going to make that jump and he's going to be the trendsetter.
Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl, and he's kind of a quarterback that runs the ball when he has to.
Right.
And
he is not the prototype. He's not the stereotype. He's not the prototypical quarterback. He is a little bit different. And he'd probably have 2 Super Bowls under his, no doubt he would have 2 Super Bowl wins under his belt if that wasn't such a terrible call by Pete Carroll.
Right. Yeah.
But
don't get me started on Pete Carroll because he fucked us the beginning of the season already, and I'm so pissed off with that guy. That's so.
Okay, but once again, how many games does somebody need before they start being able to make that progression as being able to make reads on the field and say, okay, here's my open guy. This guy's not open. That guy is open. Make my pass. He's still staring down receivers, like continuously staring down receivers. It's not good. So I found it very interesting for them to jump on the bandwagon of Jalen Hurts could be a Super Bowl quarterback when he's still struggling to do things that he should be able to do by now, at least efficiently. Maybe not every single time, because every quarterback does make mistakes, but efficiently do that and be consistent at it.
What year is he in? 3? 2?
Yeah.
This is technically his 2nd year as a starter.
Yeah, and I mean that's
a starter.
First full year, he started 4 games last year.
Yeah, everything you said is true because that's the same issue the Giants still have with Daniel Jones. And Jones was definitely showing signs of improvement this year, but he still had that he still had that very bad habit of staring down where he's going to throw the ball and everything. And then the problem was, of course, he missed like the last, 6-7 games of the year. So the Giants still don't really know what they have. And the Giants were fucking hopeless without him. But, it's not like he's proven that he's he hasn't really proven much more than being competent at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, they have to give him another year. I mean, God only knows what the fucking offensive line will look like again next year for that team. But with the skill,
spend all your draft picks. There you go. First 2-round draft picks. Yours and ours that we gave you. O-line right there. That'll help you.
Hey, if the Giants were to take 2 linemen with picks 5 and 7, and they turned out to be, all pros, I would never complain about that. Like if they take
hell no, I wouldn't either.
If they take like Aquano or Evan Neal, if he slips to them, or Charles Cross, or there's one of the guys I can't think of, and then like Tyler Linderbaum, I'm not gonna complain about that shit. But I mean, the Giants, they have to go through the evaluation period with him again, and he's going to have a new offensive coordinator, maybe a new head coach, and let's see if the skill position players like Barkley and Tony and Shepard and Galladay stay healthy, if some of those guys are even there, I have a feeling Sterling Shepard won't be. I have a feeling we'll cut him because it was cap number and everything. But I mean, this is another reason why I can't ever take Philadelphia sports people seriously. Like I still occasionally will turn the New York sports talk radio on, but not that often because a lot of those guys just annoy me. But I always find them to be a hell of a lot more knowledgeable than Philly people. And the main reason is kind of like how you pointed out, the Philly people much more prone to hopping on and off the bandwagon based upon what happened yesterday. You know? And again, I'm honestly not trying to denigrate the Eagles here, but they went 9-8 in what was, let's be honest, pretty weak division.
Oh yeah.
And here were their wins. The Falcons.
They didn't beat a team that has a winning record. That much I can tell you.
The Falcons, the Panthers, the Lions, the Broncos, the Saints, the Jets, the Giants, and Washington twice.
Well, they won the games they're supposed to then.
Yes.
Yes, their losses were to the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Giants, and the Cowboys again.
So only one of those losses is against a bad team, like the Raiders are against the second.
Yeah, it was against the Giants, which is a game that, as we discussed on here before, the Eagles basically cost themselves by stubbornly trying to throw the ball when they should have been running the ball.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like, so my point is now, because the Eagles finished in second place, it'll be a bit more of a difficult stretch for him next year. Like the Eagles' opponents for next year, there's 6 division games. Then they'll have home games with the Vikings, the Packers, the Titans, the Jaguars, the Steelers, and the Saints. So you got, 2 really good teams from this year, and the Packers and the Titans, a decent team of the Steelers, 2 mad teams in the Saints and the Vikings, and a bad team in the Jaguars. Then their away games, other than their division games, will be against the Colts, the Texans, the Bears, the Lions, and the Cardinals. So again, you got one really good
we
team.
gotta play you fuckers next year. Jesus,
you got one really good team, one team that fucked up today, and then you got 3 bad teams. So it's a little bit of a tougher schedule, it would seem. So we'll see how he does.
And I know Eagles fans won't want to hear this, but I really hope Carson Wentz lights them up. Just be like, and here's it in your face right here, you Eagles fuckers.
well, I mean, advantage Colts because that's a Colts home game, but yeah, it's like if Wentz, Wentz has got to be circling that game for once they announce the schedule proper, so you have to have the date and everything. That Wentz has got to be like circling that game to say, oh, that's one home week for me. So
it's just one of those things, and I gotta ask, with Joe, we know your quarterback situation. You still don't really have one.
We have one, which is so bring it back to Pete Carroll. This is the part that sucked. So it came out like the actual compensation that the Bears were going to trade to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like first round 2021, third round 2021, second round 2022. I think there was only 3. So they went back and forth. That was what they agreed on. Everyone on the Bears were like, go for it. The owner of Seattle was like, do it. Pete Carroll was like, okay. And then I guess Pete Carroll has player power over his roster. And he kind of then all of a sudden had a change of heart. He's like, I want one more chance with Russell, and nixed the whole trade. They were so close to like announcing the trade that the Bears had went to their PR team to announce it on social media and on all that shit. Like let all the networks know we just officially made a trade with Seattle Seahawks for Russell Wilson. And fucking Pete Carroll, the guy I don't like, just moved up even higher on my shit list. And that's hence we signed Andy Dalton, but then we got Justin Fields. I mean, it is what it is. I think Fields is talented, but the coaching is just fucking horrible.
So what was the trade? So what was the trade going to be? At first and third,
I'm okay
from
with
last
that.
year's draft, and
I'm
at
glad
second
that
and
happened. Sorry, Joe, but I'm glad that happened. I'm glad he didn't go to the Bears.
Yes.
So what was it?
2000, 2021 first round pick. So the pick we traded you to get Fields.
Right.
And then a third round pick from this past draft. And then this
Right.
year's upcoming draft, a second round pick.
Yeah, see, even if you think Wilson's declining, I wouldn't have made that deal for Wilson. I would have been like, you got to give me 2 first rounders. So,
I mean, Seattle agreed to it. I was kind of hoping for it.
well, that's
See,
what I'm
that's
saying.
where Pete Carroll should not have
kinda,
that kind of power.
well, I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised. I'm kind of surprised that they agreed to it then. So, yeah. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I don't really necessarily blame Carroll for having second thoughts.
So
But of course,
Oh my God, we got to play the Giants again next year again too. Oh, we play your whole fucking division next year.
Yeah,
suck
it's,
it.
it's
fucking
the
A.
NFC,
Suck it,
NFC
Bears.
North, matchup year, but yeah, the game.
Oh
will
fuck,
be,
we got to play the AFC
the game will be at MetLife Stadium.
East as well. We play the Jets too, and Buffalo. Oh Lord, and the Dolphins. Oh God.
But,
God.
AJ.
Of course, it didn't work out then for the Seahawks this year with Wilson.
What?
And now there's a
No, it
speculation
didn't.
from this year.
So what's the quarterback situation looking like there in Denver? I saw that your quarterback, which I can't remember his name, played very well yesterday.
Locke played well yesterday. He did.
Locke.
They don't. They need a quarterback. That's what their problem is. They're not going to win unless they have a quarterback who they can who plays good every week.
So Drew
they
Lock
don't
is
have-
not solid week to week.
No, I mean Bridgewater was the starter. They didn't even think Locke wasn't even the starter this year until Bridgewater got hurt.
So, but I can say Locke did play well the last game. So, I mean,
but they didn't win.
no, they didn't win. You're
Like-
right, they didn't. Sometimes your quarterback can have a solid performance, and if the defense doesn't do what they need to do,
I don't know why they kicked a field goal with 4 minutes left. Like they could have scored a touchdown there and tied the game, but they kicked a field goal and never got the ball back. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was watching, and I was like, "Oh, I like the fact that they won for the field goal, but you have 4 minutes. You got to be able to stop the ball and get the ball back. Like your defense has got to make those stops.
Get the ball back, get it back, get it back, get it back.
You're
Pat-
not a very
Pat-
pretty cheerleader. Can you
Pat
stop?
reverted to his cheerleading days there, apparently.
Wow. Wow.
There's a reason you were in the band, sir.
There are some cheers that you hear so often when you're sitting in the stands in the marching band that they never go out of your head.
Yes.
So there's a question. Me and AJ had this talk the other day. Since Ben probably is going to retire this year,
Mm-hmm.
first ballot or no?
I don't think he's a first balloter.
Hard,
I know he's got 2 Super
Hard
Bowls.
to say.
I think his character keeps him out of the first ballot. I think
Yeah,
the
I think-
character problems.
I think
It's-
he's the first ballot.
It's hard to say for reasons that are not knowable right now. You never do know when these fuckers are going to get sanctimonious with like a character clause thing, because I think it happened to a few people where they were like, well, some of these voters probably just had it made up in their mind. Oh, he's not going to go on first ballot, and it's because he was kind of a jerk, or he had this happen or that. But Ray Lewis went in on his first ballot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, that's one factor. Another factor is you don't know who else is going to be on the ballot.
Well, here's
you
the
don't
thing.
you don't know
Phil,
you don't know who's going to be a finalist that particular year, and
Yeah.
you don't know if somebody's going to say, oh, it might be like this guy last year of eligibility, just all kinds of shit like that.
Just
It's really hard to say.
So like Breeze and Rivers are going to be the year before him. Breeze will get in
Yes.
first ballot. Rivers, to me, shouldn't even
It's
get in.
iffy.
So if you're
Real
going to have to
iffy.
pick, if you have to pick between Rivers and Big Ben, though, you're taking Big Ben in that scenario for sure.
Well, yeah, because Rivers definitely
Yeah.
he doesn't even have the Super Bowls to back his.
He barely has
No.
playoff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So here's the thing: you're going to have. Sorry, I'm pulling up something here. You're going to have Eli hit the ballot 1 year, then Rivers and Breeze the next year, and then presuming that this is his last year, Roethlisberger will be in the next year. They a lot of times don't like putting in multiple guys who play the same position,
which is stupid.
It is.
It's dumb.
It is. But again, when you're limited to 5 guys every year,
technically 7. They can't put up to 7. That's why I think it's fucking stupid.
Well, no. The 7 only comes into play when you add in the senior candidate and the contributor candidate. From the list of 15
I thought they scrapped that.
No, from the list of 15 finalists that they have every year, the maximum number is 5. And they don't have to put in 5. They usually do, but they don't have to. So it's going to be, the first thing will be interesting. The first thing's going to be, what do they do with Eli when he hits the ballot? I'd have a feeling they won't put Eli in first ballot for a few reasons. Then the problem is, though, like you said, Breeze and Rivers hit the ballot the next year. Breeze is a definite first ballot. Rivers, I don't think will be. He's got better stats than Eli does, but he doesn't have the postseason stuff. And then, you'll throw Roethlisberger into that too. So,
I mean, if you have to pick between Eli and Roethlisberger, you take Big Ben there too because he's got better numbers. So,
yeah, I mean, Roethlisberger's ended up throwing for
Roethlisberger's numbers are like
51 more touchdowns than Eli, and he's got him in yards by about 6,800. So yeah.
Roethlisberger has pretty good career numbers too, so he's got that. He got hurt. He did get hurt, but
yeah, they did make it 5, and then that's stupid.
Roethlisberger might get in on the first ballot. He's a maybe. I think he should, but he's a maybe. So.
I mean, I think he probably should too, but again, as I just said, it's hard to predict.
It's not
hard to predict these things when we don't know what it's going to look like.
He's not Drew Brees, where we know Drew Brees is going to get in on the first, or there's certain guys that we know are going to get in on the first ballot. Big Ben's not quite in that group, I don't think. He probably will, but he's not a for sure.
Yeah, if you look at this year's finalists for the Football Hall of Fame, you got, let's see, what is it? 1, 2, you got 3 guys who were there for the first time. Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, and DeMarcus Ware.
DeMarcus Ware getting in.
Yeah. I would vote for him just based upon what he did to the Giants for years. And then the other guys who are on the ballot are guys who've been there before as holdovers. And most of these guys, I think have been finalists before. I think maybe just one of them hasn't, I think is what I read. It's Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Rondé Barber, Tony Baselli, Leroy Butler, Torrey Holt, Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Zach Thomas, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, and Brian Young.
I would have to say Zach Thomas and Rondé Barber would get in before Devin Hester.
Well, again, it's hard to compare because they play different positions and everything. But what my point is that there's no slam dunk candidates on this ballot. There's no. It's not like last year when you had Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson, where it's you discuss those guys for about 5 minutes and say, yeah, they're getting in. There's positives and negatives to all these guys to put them in. Guys like Tony Baselli and Patrick Willis, you'd be like, well, their careers were kind of short. Then you got 3 wide receivers on there again, and Holt, Johnson, and Wayne, and they've had so many wide receivers going over the last few years, and other guys who are still waiting to try to move from the semifinalist list to the finalist list, like Anquan Boldin, Steve Smith, and Hines Ward. So there's that.
See, Hines Ward's one of those guys that I think should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's ever made it to the finalist list before, but then you've got Rondé Barber and Leroy Butler, who were both defensive backs, and you got Thomas and Mills and Willis, who were linebackers, and you got Ware and Allen, who were pass rushers. So, yeah. I, of course, hope Sam Mills gets in, but I don't think he will. And unfortunately, this is his last time as a regular candidate because this is his last year of eligibility. He'd have to go to the senior list to get in. I mean, he's
How many years do they have to be on the list before they get booted off? I forget.
It's kind of the same as baseball. If it's been like a total of, I think, like 25 years since they last played.
Okay.
Like Sam Mills last played in 1997, so he's not eligible after this year. None of the other guys who are finalists are quite close to that yet.
Maybe look at Sam Mills in finally.
I'd love to see it happen, but I just don't see it. I mean, it took him forever to even get to a finalist list, so yeah.
Yeah, there really is no slam dunk on this list. I mean, DeMarcus Merriweather might be my closest.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who will become eligible next year, and then it's the year after next is when Eli becomes eligible. So, and the
quarterback group is
the Pro Football Hall of Fame is more secretive, I guess you could say, than the the Baseball Hall of Fame. Like, it's just like the guys who vote for him, and I think there's like 60 or some, just like they get together. It's like, I think the day before the Super Bowl, and they discuss each candidate, and then they pair it from 15 to 10, and then they from 10 to 5, and then they decide if they put those 5 guys in or everything. But it's not like, guys are hundreds of guys get votes, and the popular thing now, of course, is they submit it to the ballot tracker guys so that the votes start getting tabulated before the announcement is made and everything.
It's crazy. Look. Go ahead, Jim.
We're at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and Las Vegas just scored and went up 26-14, but screwed up on the 2-point conversion, like big time.
It's funny looking at this list and seeing that there's, like, when they did the whole voting, there's only 3 running backs on this list, and Eddie George, Fred Taylor, and Ricky Waters.
Ricky Waters is not in yet? Wow, that's surprising.
I'm not even sure if I would put him in.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him in.
I'm
not even sure if I would put Eddie George in.
I agree with you guys. I'm just kind of surprised because even though his career was mega short, he put up for those years. I mean, if you could look, if you were to extend,
Eddie George played less games than him, technically.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
It's going to get much harder to evaluate.
Only by 3, but still.
I mean, there's been this discussion about what you do with all these wide receivers because the game has changed into more of a passing game. So it's like, oh, well, it's like just because they put up these numbers, well, they're not quite as impressive because all these other guys are doing the same thing. There's also going to be an issue, I think, with putting running backs in because you're going to have – you're not going to be comparing them to the guys that they necessarily played against. You're going to be comparing to the guys who are already in the Hall of Fame, and those guys have numbers that like dwarf them. Like Adrian Peterson is 5th all time in rushing now. I'm pretty sure he'll get in, even with the character issues and the fact that he's bounced around to like 80% of the league over the last
4 years.
I know nobody wants to keep him long enough.
Yeah, but like
this is so weird.
But like Frank Gore is 3rd all time in rushing yards. But there's actually been a debate as to whether or not Frank Gore was really that great.
Frank Gore played a long fucking time.
Yeah, and that's to his credit. But were his numbers that great? Blah blah blah. He did have 9,000 yard seasons, but I don't think he ever led the league in rushing, or anything of that sort. So
no, because I think the years that he got 1,000, I think guys were like 12, 1,300.
Yeah, he made 5 Pro Bowls, which is okay, good, but not great. But I don't think he was ever like first team All Pro or anything of that sort. So
his 3rd on the all-time rushing list is the only thing that's really going to help him get in.
Right. So that'll be interesting. But then, like the next after Gore and Peterson, the next highest guy on the all-time rushing list, who's not in the Hall of Fame, is Fred Taylor. And then after him, it's Steven Jackson, Corey Dillon, LaShawn McCoy, Warwick Dunn, Ricky Watters.
And Fred
Jamal
Taylor's
Lewis,
got what?
Thomas
11,000.
Jones. Yeah, Jamal Lewis, Thomas Jones, Tiki Barber, Eddie George, Marshawn Lynch, Otis Anderson, and Ricky Watters as other guys who have over 10,000.
Over 10,000.
And then right under 10,000, you've got Clinton Portis, enjoy jail. But the next highest guy after Marshawn, well, they still consider Marshawn Lynch active on this, and LaShawn McCoy too. I'm not going to. The highest guy.
They're not active.
It's funny.
They're really
funny,
not.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch
And maybe
still
in their
active.
minds, especially Marshawn Lynch.
So after Peterson, because I don't consider Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy, or Marshawn Lynch active still, the highest guys in the all-time rushing list that are still active are Mark Ingram, Ezekiel Elliott, and Derrick Henry. And they have 7,800, 7,300, and 6,700 career rushing yards.
Oh, speaking of Ezekiel Elliott, that guy, I think he got 1,000 yards this year, like just
Yep.
barely.
Yep.
But he
Second quarter,
had
something like that.
11 straight games where he didn't even have 100 yards. I was laughing my ass off because for years I've been hearing about how great Ezekiel Elliott, he's so good, and I got sick of seeing this stupid fucking move. Feed me more, I'm hungry. Like, fuck you. I think this year, even though he got 1,000 yards, which he had an extra game to do it this year, I think we kind of saw a little bit of what Ezekiel Elliott's turning into, and that is not as dominant of a back as he used to be. I won't say that he wasn't dominant at some point in time, but I think we're starting to see what he might really have been now that he doesn't have this ridiculously mega line to run behind that he had for so many years.
Yeah, they've been splitting carries with Pollard too, because Pollard ran over 700 yards this year. But yeah, there's a lot of plays or games where I've watched and like Zeke Elliott's in there 3-4 plays in a row, and then Pollard comes in for like 8, and it's like, oh, you're keeping Zeke on the sideline for a while there. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two thoughts to it. Yeah, he just barely cleared 1,000 yards, and yeah, you can say, well, yeah, he had one more game to do it and everything. No, those yards per carry were actually slightly up from last year, 4.0 to 4.2. So it wasn't necessarily that he wasn't getting the job done. He wasn't getting the ball quite as much for various reasons. But at the same time, yeah, yards per game. He led the league in yards per game his first 3 years in the league, but they've gone down every year. He started at 108.7 to 98.3 to 95.6. Those are the 3 years he led the league, and that's that. Then it went down to 84.8, 65.3, and 58.9 this year.
Yeah.
So the question, of course, is that because he's become less effective, or he's been a little dinged up here and there, or is it because the Cowboys have just been throwing the ball more? It's probably a combination of everything.
Yeah. Well, from what I saw, he wasn't very effective yesterday. And that was that's against the second and third string guys for the Eagles, and he still was not super effective.
He had 18 carries for 87 yards, which is 4.83 per carry, which is really not bad. And actually, it was actually his best game in quite some time. His games the last few weeks: 9 carries for 16 yards, 9 carries for 37 yards, and a touchdown. 16 for 52 and a touchdown, 12 for 45, 13 for 45, 9 for 25 and a touchdown, 9 for 32, 14 for 41 and 2 touchdowns, 10 for 51. So, hey, we're over 5 yards a carry. But yeah, he only had 200-yard games all year against Carolina and the Giants weeks 4 and 5.
Right. Well, yesterday, he had I think he broke a couple. Like 1 or 2 that he got like 20 or 20 some yards on a carry. So,
so are you saying it was one of those games where it was like he had 2 carries for 50 yards and then 16 carries for 30?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to go look at the actual game stats, but I watched that game and I'm pretty sure I saw him break 1 or 2, maybe 3. But still, it wasn't like he was just dominating every down. I mean, he got tackled behind the line quite a few times. And most of his carries were in the four the 4-yard range.
Says his longest run was 26. So you take that away, then he had 17 carries for 61 yards, which is, not very inspiring.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it's just interesting, because I've been kind of saying that for a long time that, while I agree he's definitely talented as a running back. I think once you put him behind a not so great line, which I think Dallas's line has not been as good as it's been in years past, you start to see what he can really do. I don't think he's an elite running back like everybody tried to make him out to be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. That's just the way I kind of feel about him. AJ, you look like you got something to say.
No, I was gonna.
Okay.
I was gonna talk about the NBA a little bit.
All right. Yeah. Let's talk about the NBA as Pat walks away because he don't care about the NBA.
So
that's a nice gray suit he's got on. He's got all gray on. He's looking like a big gray monster.
Klay Thompson came back tonight. He had 17.
Nice.
So,
I saw he made the NBA All-Star game, didn't he?
yeah, it's crazy. He's being voted in and he hasn't played a game. That's why the fans voting is so dumb. It's the worst in the NBA. The fan vote is bad in every sport, but it is the worst in the NBA. They always vote for people who are hurt. And
I saw that.
What the fuck are you voting?
I saw that he last year, was it last year? No, not last year. The year.
No,
what was the last year he played?
He hasn't played for 2.5 years. This is his first
2019.
Right. So 2019, when he did play, they showed his stats and he made it in. He was 6th overall in voting. This year, he didn't play a game and he was 5th overall in voting.
So,
I was like, that is so dumb.
I mean, he made his first shot. It looked like he dunked. He had a poster dunk tonight. Joey punched over 2 people. Steph played good. They beat the Cavs. The last time the Cavs beat the Warriors was in 2017, Game 4 of the NBA Finals. They have not beaten the Warriors in 5 years. In like 19 straight games, the Warriors have beat the Cavs.
Good.
So, I wanted to, you know who's a beast, Joe? Fucking John Morant. He is a beast.
Yeah, he is. He is right now.
That team's scary, and I see that they're blowing the Lakers out, so we don't have to. Hopefully, at the end of the night, we don't have to hear that the Lakers are undefeated when LeBron plays center anymore. So,
oh, that's such a fucking crock of shit.
I like your gray sweats there, Jarrett. There, big guy.
Shut up, you.
Sweet, pull him up a couple times, Pat.
I think they're already pulled up high enough. I don't think they go any higher.
Klay Thompson has more All-Star votes than fucking Devin Booker. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, that's there's something wrong with that. So,
It
was really cool. It was really cool to see Klay get the introduction tonight. Like I said, he played good. So, and we've got Joe's Bulls are really good, playing really well right now. So,
yeah. And they moved that game that we play you Friday to a ESPN game at 7:30 or 8:30 now.
And I know you don't like LaMelo. No, not LaMelo. Not LaMelo. What's the other one? Lonzo Ball. Sorry, I know LaMelo's in the league too. But I know you don't like Lonzo, but he's playing a hella good for the Bulls. Like, he's having a really good season for the Bulls. Like, I personally don't have any issues with him. I had issues with his dad being an ass and being fucking annoying as shit. But Lonzo's having a hell of a season this year. Like, he's playing really well. I'm very surprised because he's had like mediocre seasons up to now.
He's playing good this year for us. That's all I ask for him. And speaking of LaMelo, it's kind of funny, like the big baller brand, and LaMelo just came out with his own Puma sneaker. He signed a sneaker contract with Puma and just came out with his own brand like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh, Daddy's big baller brand isn't working out very well for you, is it now?
No, because big baller brand shoes are too fucking expensive. Who the hell's going to pay that kind of money for shoes?
LaMelo's okay. LaMelo doesn't bother me. I think Lonzo's the one that I just had an issue with him in college, and I'm always going to have an issue. LaMelo's fine. LaMelo's good. So
Mhm.
LaMelo's a pretty good player. So
Yeah, he is.
the Hornets are like one veteran away from being good. They have a bunch of pretty good players, but they need that. They need like when Phoenix went and got Chris Paul. The Hornets and like the Timberwolves, there's a couple teams floating around that have some really good guys in their team, but they're
Maybe
like one guy away from being really good.
Maybe they can take
Yeah, they
somebody
are.
from the LA Geriatrics. You know, they got a couple veteran players over there.
Isn't Cleveland in talks to trade? They're in talks to trade with the Lakers for Rondo, I think, right now.
That already happened.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
Cleveland got Rondo.
I read it and I was like, whatever. If it happens, it happens. It's not going to help fucking Cleveland.
Rubio's out. Piece of shit. Rubio's out for the year. So
it's just funny because the Lakers got Isaiah Thomas. They signed him to a 10 games. Then they didn't extend his contract. Then he went to somewhere else too, didn't he?
There's
somebody else.
There's a lot of guys floating around right now because of COVID. There's a lot of guys that are getting called the day of a game or 2 days before a game. And can you come play a game? Because this person's got COVID and we don't have enough of a roster. So there's a bunch of guys who are kind of floating around right now.
And I find it interesting with Isaiah Thomas. Now, I don't follow the NBA like you do. But I remember when Isaiah Thomas, he played that game when his sister, no, not his sister. Was it his sister that passed away or his dad?
He had one
He was a sister.
He had one good season when he played for Boston and he fit into the system there. But after that year, he's been nothing special.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, he plays for Boston. He plays that like game when his sister passed away, had a really good game. Like, and I think he had a 50-point game or something crazy like that.
He did.
And like, he was the talk of the town. And then after that season, it's like, what happened to Isaiah Thomas? Oh, he's playing in the fucking D League. Like, what? Like, what the fuck happened to this guy?
Well, crazy. He had that hip issue too, and the hip surgery and all that shit too.
He was in the Kyrie Irving trade. Like, he went to the Cavs when Kyrie went to the Celtics. And we're not even going to talk about Kyrie because he's a glorified hero now because he came back and played in the game because it wasn't at home or whatever. Like, I'm so tired of him. He's such a piece of shit.
Yeah, because he's still not going to get vaccinated, which means he'll never be able to play in New York because New York you have to be vaccinated to be indoors. So
yeah, super strict with that.
So it's just funny. So he'll only play road games in states that they allow you to be unvaccinated and still collect his paycheck. Isn't that nice?
Yep.
I want a job where I can collect a paycheck and not have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just like I said, Joe, I'm glad it looks like the Lakers are going to lose because I'm tired of, they're undefeated when LeBron plays center.
I've been ignoring anytime LeBron starts getting talked on sports talk, I turn it off. I'm done listening.
He is to as much
the longevity and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar took a shot at him a couple weeks ago when LeBron got fined for doing like the crotch celebration after a game or whatever, and he was talking about Abdul-Jabbar has like his little podcast he does and whatnot, and he took a pot shot at him. He's like there's no need for that, and that's not sportsmanlike. He goes, goats don't do stuff like that. And I was like, ooh. I was like, you go, Abdul-Jabbar. I like you right now. He definitely seems like he's not a big fan of some of this LeBron crap that LeBron does. So I'm like, yes, a Lakers legend doesn't like the shit that you do. Kudos to you, buddy. But yeah, I've been turning stuff off. I'm focusing on the Bulls. I just see, the record of the Lakers, and they lose and keep on losing, buddy. That's all I want to see.
I know that. They're in the playoffs right now because the West is actually weaker than the East from top to bottom right now, which like that hasn't happened in years.
Well, yeah. So, speaking of that,
the East is a lot better.
I have the NBA conference records, so we
lost to Dallas tonight by like 10 or something. What's funny too? Like when I look at the NBA standings, and I started doing this probably like 8 years ago. I never look at the division standings. I think division standings are just meaningless. I just look at the conference records.
Yeah.
And when the NBA started, like I think 4 years ago, when you watch TV, even like the beginning of the season, they don't even show division standings. They just show the conference standings for like 1 through 8. It's like the divisions, like they should just get rid of the divisions. You want to keep your rivalries, you can still do that and schedule it in that manner like it is. But fuck the division. Just do conference and be done.
A couple of years ago, they were talking about changing the playoffs to just being the top 16 teams, not taking 18 from the East and 18 from the West. Like they were talking about just making it the top 16 teams, but then they decided to do this play-in stuff instead. So,
yeah,
I mean, I don't mind the play-in
the
stuff.
Lakers are losing. The Lakers are losing big time. They're losing by 20.
Yeah, I know. That's why
it's not even close.
Good.
They're going to lose.
Keep
finally.
it 20. Let's keep it.
So they're going to
the Chargers are losing this game tonight.
Yeah, they are. They're getting.
They're getting housed right now.
Las Vegas came out to play. They came out to play. They're starting to dominate.
29-14.
Yeah. So looking at the East Conference. Okay, so we'll break down what is it? The top 7. How many make the playoffs? The top 16.
The top 6 get in, and then 7 through 10 is in the play-in stuff. So
okay.
Yep.
So looking at the top
technically
6,
the top 10 is what you got to look at.
So you got the Bulls at 1, the Nets at 2, the Heat at 3, the Bucks at 4, the Sixers at 5, which kind of surprises me. And that's only because they don't have their second superstar, but that kind of tells you that they don't necessarily need him.
They don't.
Just because he wasn't adding enough to the team to make that team that much better. Cleveland at 6, the Raptors at 7, the Hornets at 8, the Wizards at 9, and the Celtics at 10, which the Celtics at 10 is kind of sad because they've got the losing record. And the Wizards are 500.
So let's go over West.
Over to the West, though, and you got a bunch of teams under 500 that would be in the playoffs right now.
Yeah. So you got the Suns at 1, which they're killing it. Them and the Warriors are killing it right now. Warriors are 2, Jazz are 3, the Grizzlies are 4.
The Kings are 16-25.
The Lakers are 6, and that's only because they went on a tear recently and had 4 wins. The Nuggets are at 7 at 19-18. The Timberwolves are at 8 at 20-20. The Clippers are at 9 at 20-21. And the Kings are at 10 at 16-25. Now that's terrible. Because if you look at the East, the Celtics are at 10, and yes, they have a losing record, but they're 19-21. It's only 2 games. Where the Kings, that's 9 games.
So the East is better top to bottom, but I think.
I mean, there is a lot of season left. There's still over half the season.
You could argue the 3 best teams are in the West right now, though. Probably, I don't like
right. If you're talking about the 3 best, yeah, with the Suns and the Warriors and
the Jazz,
Utah.
The Jazz.
I would say that those 3 teams and the Bulls are probably the 4 best teams in the NBA right now. So I just don't know if Brooklyn. We don't know if Kyrie's only going to play on road games. I don't know how long that's going to last, and I don't want them to win. So
I almost feel like it would be beneficial for their record in losing sense if Kyrie played every game, because I don't think those big names can coexist on a daily basis. I think that's what hurt them last year.
The Bucks are kind of underachieving right now, but I'm sure the Bucks, when they'll be there in the end, probably. So
probably, yeah. I mean, the only reason I would say the West is definitely the one to possibly still win is just because the Suns and the Warriors are proven winners. We know they win.
Well, the Warriors win. The Suns choked last year in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, they did choke in the finals. They kind of fell apart. But still, we know that they can win. We know that they could be easily in the finals again.
Still a top-tier team.
The reason I worry about the East and whether they can win, the NBA championship, is because just looking at the top 5, the Bulls haven't. And help me out here, Joe. You know better as a Bulls fan than I do. The Bulls really haven't had that kind of season.
No, they haven't been relevant for several years.
Right, and they haven't. When's the last time they were in the playoffs? I don't know. I honestly don't.
The
I-
year Rondo and D Wade were on the team.
Yeah, so that's quite a while ago. The Nets fell apart in the playoffs last year. The Heat, I can't remember what happened with them last year in the playoffs.
The Heat are might be the best team in the East when they're healthy, because Jimmy Butler is the biggest thing with them is Tyler Hero is playing much better this year than he did last year. He kind of had the sophomore slump last year, and he's having a much better season again this year. So the Heat have Jimmy Butler, they have pieces, and they have Tyler Hero. So I think Miami, by the end of the season, I would not be shocked if Miami ends up in the finals. So if I was picking a team out of the East right now, I might take Miami. So,
and you got the
They can
Bucks.
usually get to the finals.
You got the Bucks, who we know what they did last year.
Mhm.
The Sixers, as a Sixers fan, I'm still suspect because I got to see what they can do in the playoffs. Last year, they, in my opinion, they shit the bed in the playoffs. They should have beat Atlanta. That shouldn't have been even that series shouldn't have been even close.
Yeah.
But it was what it was, you know. So that you got the top 5 teams in the East that you just don't. Besides the Bucks, you just don't know what you're really going to get when it comes playoff time. Like it's suspect.
The other thing too is, you know, what's the NBA going to do? Because they made an agreement several weeks ago about all these 10-day contracts that they're allowing the teams to sign that are not going against the salary cap because of COVID and whatnot. So is COVID going to die down when the playoffs start? Or they allow the teams to keep this up, keep a 15-man roster like actively in case, someone tests positive in the playoffs. So they have players to play. So you don't have a playoff game where there's, say the Bucks only have 8 players to play this whole game in a playoff series. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that plays. Because a lot of these teams, I don't know, for like the Bulls signed 5 or 6 guys in the past 3 weeks to like multiple 10-day contracts, because of so many guys being like on the COVID list. So they like none of these teams have really been able to like have good, like, I mean, we won 9 in a row until tonight, but like we had multiple guys out who really haven't been playing together that much. So that's going to be the biggest point after All-Star break is how it goes, and all these
maybe
teams
they need to go back to
being
the bubble,
healthy
or a semi-bubble, something that these guys are restricted as far as who they're interacting with and where they're able. I just shouldn't say where they're able to go, but just something to restrict them, because the NBA moves out of any league. I feel like the NBA moves around the most. Like they're constantly. Yeah, hockey does too, but I feel like hockey. I guess
hockey's
does
more
the
of
same
an
amount.
Hockey's has more of an issue because there's more Canadian teams, so that's more of a in and out of a country type of aspect of it.
Yeah.
But no. It's interesting. I mean, we'll see. It's a good start. It's a good start to the season. I'm not going to lie. It's good to see a lot of these teams, some good games and whatnot. COVID's.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to actually tune in and watch some of the Sixers games, because the fact that the issue is not present in their lineup on a daily basis anymore. And I'd like to see some of these younger players that they got right now working with him.
Tyrese Maxey.
I know, that Maxey's a hell of a player. Like he really came into his own out last year in the when they got to the playoffs, in that, and he's from what I've seen on highlights and stuff like that, he's having a pretty damn good season again.
He's in trade. He keeps being the person I see in trade packages with Ben Simmons, though. Like he keeps being the person I see in the trade packages with Ben Simmons. So
well, they can't dump that motherfucker off on nobody. Like nobody's
no one wants him.
They're like, oh yeah, we'll take. Yeah, nobody's like, yeah, we'll take Ben Simmons. Sure, he sounds great. Yeah, they're like,
nope.
Why the fuck would we want this guy? He can't fucking shoot. Like he can't shoot free throws and he can't shoot from the field. Like why do we want this guy? He's like nobody.
No one wants him.
And what drives me nuts is that they gave him that huge ass fucking contract for what? It never made sense, like to me at all. Like when you're talking about a player who's supposed to be a star that does not have a rounded game. Like his game is one dimensional. It is drive with a pass or just pass, because he won't drive when it matters because he can't shoot a free throw and he doesn't want to go to the line. Like he is not a leader of a team. He is one-dimensional as a player. And I hate to say it because he's being one-dimensional as he's definitely an NBA caliber player. But now when you're playing against people that know that you're one-dimensional and know that you can't do certain things, they take advantage of that and you hurt your team. So now what good are you? You know, and it's sad to say because I think the guy could be really, really good if he could really up his game. If he could get just get a mid-range shot, something that he could shoot mid-range. You know, he doesn't have to bomb threes away. There's other guys that people on teams that can bomb threes if you get on the right team, but he's got to have a mid-range. Like, you got to have a mid-range shot. It's just a vital part of the NBA. Come on, Vlade Divac. I can't say his. Well, I'm putting his first and last name together. Vlade Divac. I'm saying Vlade. Vlade Divac. Even he had a mid-range shot. It wasn't great, but he had a mid-range shot.
Yep.
And you would never say that he was like a freaking athletic player of any sort. Like he was definitely a low post player, but he had a mid-range. Like,
and he could pass.
Yeah.
He's a good passing big man too.
Yeah. And Tim Duncan too. Tim Duncan, he was a post player, but he had that 12 to 15 foot shot that he could, you know, drop anytime. You know, he was dangerous.
Oh, he was he was more than dangerous. He was me and Jay were actually talking about this the other day. I think Duncan might be the classiest NBA player like I've ever seen. Like, that guy never did. He got those double technicals in that one game for some bullshit thing and got thrown out. And I think he only had like a very minimal amount of technical fouls in his whole career. I think Rasheed Wallace had more technicals in one season than Tim Duncan had in his whole career.
Oh, Rasheed Wallace had a big mouth. He was fun to watch, but he had a big mouth on him that got himself in trouble too many times.
He actually I was looking at something the other day, and it was like NBA records that will not be broken, and he was on there for most technical fouls in a season. He got 41 technical fouls in a season.
Damn.
That is just utterly ridiculous. That's what that is.
So Duncan was special. We I know Pat doesn't like the NBA as much as the rest of us, but we got pretty lucky because we got to see Duncan, we got to see Jordan, we got to see Bird, we got to see Magic, we've gotten to see Steph. As much as I hate to put LeBron in there, we've seen LeBron. We've seen some of the best like NBA, Kobe. We've seen some of the best players, NBA players, of Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaq in our lifetime. We've seen a lot of the greatest of all time type guys in our lifetime.
And speaking of Kobe, when you know what I find interesting, like everybody's like, "Oh, LeBron's so great, LeBron's this, or LeBron's go." But you know what I never hear kids say when they shoot the ball, even to this day, I never hear them go, "Oh, LeBron." I hear them go, "Kobe," you know, Cook's go
Jordan
or Jordan, you know,
or Steph. Even
I don't ever hear a kid go, "Oh, LeBron." You know, I never hear that come out of a kid's mouth, which is funny to me.
No.
Like kids emulate, like I did it as a kid too. I emulated my favorite players. Like I wanted to be the Charles Barkley, you know, I wanted to be this guy or that guy. But, and I know kids like to be like, pretend they're LeBron, but you just never hear that come out of their mouth when they shoot a shot, you know. It's interesting to do that.
I did see something the other day. I saw something the other day where somebody was talking about Bird and how Bird was just like cold-hearted with this trash talking. I saw somebody say Bird was one of the greatest trash talkers like of all time.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
You know, I've heard it before, but they were talking about like at that 3-point contest when he walked in and said, "Who's finishing second tonight?" to everybody.
Yeah, and they still talk about it because they're like, he never took off his warm-up coat.
Yeah, and
he never took off his warm-up jacket.
Turned around when he shot the ball because he knew it was going in. Like, how cocky do you have to be to turn around when you shoot? And that he needed that shot to win the contest, to shoot the ball and turn around and put that finger in there knowing it's going in. Like, that's cold-hearted right there.
It is.
But I'll still say one of the craziest shots I ever saw was Steph shoot Like, yeah, it's quite a few years ago now, but he closed his eyes and shot. Like, he shot with his eyes closed, a 3-pointer, and fucking swoosh, just
Well,
done.
he does
Muscle
it a
memory,
lot.
man.
He does it a lot where he makes the shot and he turns around because he knows he does that a lot. Like, he's probably done that 5 or 6 times in his career where he's made a shot at 3 and turned around, walked back down because he knew it was going in. Like, he's done that multiple times in his career.
Yeah, but to be able to make a shot with your eyes closed.
Well, Jordan made a free throw with his eyes shut at least once. So
Yeah, I used to do that quite a bit.
Yeah, free throws I can see. Like, that's a pretty standard shot, especially if you're a good free throw shooter.
I can do free throws with my eyes shut. I've done that in horse with people a bunch of times. Like, I can make free throws with my eyes shut. So
Yeah.
I told you, I was telling Joe that this, so I don't talk to a lot of like customers about basketball. I pick and choose who I have conversations with, especially because
in Cleveland. Well, you're being in Ohio, that's kind of tough.
So this guy came in though, and he had a Kobe jacket on. I could see he had a Kobe t-shirt on. So I said, Kobe's your favorite player of all time, I'm guessing. He's like, yeah, Kobe was my dude. And I'm just like, are you a Lakers fan? Or are you a Kobe fan? He's like, oh, I'm a diehard Lakers fan.
One quick interruption. The Chargers just got a fumble off of David Carr. They knocked the ball out of David Carr. It is right now 29-22 with the Chargers having the ball on the Las Vegas 20.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, continue your Kobe story, sir.
So I was like, oh, I'm a Celtics fan. I told him, I was like, I grew up a Celtics fan. And he was like, so who's your all-time favorite Celtics players? And I'm like, Larry Bird and Paul Pierce. And he's like, that's good. He's like, that's who you should pick in our lifetime. So he was like, that's who so I was like, so you're a Lakers fan. And I'm like, I said something to him about LeBron because he said he didn't really like the Lakers with LeBron. He didn't really like LeBron being on the Lakers. So then I was like, oh, do you not like LeBron? He's like, no, he's like, I really like LeBron. And at that point, I chose to not do the Jordan LeBron thing. I said I could go this route, but I'm not gonna do this. The guy was closer to our age, so I feel like maybe he would have been a Jordan guy, but I was like, I'm gonna go the other direction. So I said something to him. I said, Steph Curry's my favorite player. And the guy was like, Steph is a bad motherfucker. Like, he's like, Steph is, and this is a Lakers fan. So this is a big deal to me. This is a Lakers fan telling me that if Steph wins one more championship, he's the best point guard of all time, even over Magic Johnson. And I'm like, wow, that's a Lakers fan saying that Steph could jump Magic Johnson as the best point guard of all time if he wins another ring. And I'm biased to Steph. So, like, I'm going to say that. But to hear somebody else say that makes me say, okay, maybe this isn't that far-fetched. That even though Steph isn't really a point guard, that's the position the NBA puts him as. He's a point guard. So if he wins another ring and he's got 4 rings, and let's say he wins another MVP too, how do you not put him above Magic then? And he's changed the game just as much as Magic did now. So it's just interesting to hear Steph Curry's name starting to come up. Is, to me, he's one of the top 10 players of all time. I don't know how maybe he's 9 or 10, but I don't know how you can't have him in the top 10 right now. Like, he broke the 3-point record. He's the greatest shooter we've ever seen. So it's interesting to hear his name starting to come up in those discussions now.
So I don't know what happened in the Chargers game, but somehow they didn't call it a fumble, or they didn't recover the fumble. I could have swore they recovered the fumble, but I don't think they called it a fumble because they ended up punting.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there's only 2 minutes left then.
Yeah.
Chargers had the ball, though.
Yeah, they do have the ball, so that's good. So what were you about to say there, Joe?
Steph's not really a point guard, but they put him at that. And Magic really wasn't a point guard because he was like more of a point forward.
Yeah.
A 6'7", 6'8" point forward, that played center in the NBA Finals for the
you're right, Joe.
for the Lakers.
That's a good point. He wasn't really a point, and Steph's more like a combo guard, but they don't.
Yeah.
Combo guard's not a position in the NBA, so
No. Yeah, it's just weird. Like, you've had players that have kind of technically played out of position per se, if you want to put in those terms. But
Well, especially Magic, because he ended up playing center there for a little bit.
he's
So I don't
played
want to hear about
center,
LeBron
power
playing center
forward,
because
forward. Yeah, I know.
Magic did it first, and he won a fucking NBA championship doing that shit for them.
The real Laker.
All right, we
Yeah.
can talk about something so Pat can get involved again.
That's all right. Pat doesn't need to talk anymore. He's good.
We can talk about Boba Fett. Did everybody watch Boba Fett?
I watched the first episode. Yes, I did not watch the second
Jeremy,
episode
The
yet.
second episode is so good, Jeremy.
Yes, I didn't get a chance to see it. I know it's out. I just didn't get a chance to watch it.
There's a lot in it, man.
But yeah, did you watch the second episode, Pat?
Of course it is.
Did you think it? I thought it was awesome. Did you like it or?
Yeah, intriguing still. I mean, still trying to guess as to where they might be going with it, and not really sure. But that's a good thing. So
You're right.
Well, I must say I enjoyed the first episode immensely because I liked having that backstory, like how we got out of the Sarlacc. How did he get out of the Sarlacc? Yeah.
And they continue that on till episode 2 as well.
I of course had a different thought when they were showing him getting out of the Sarlacc.
Yeah, and it's funny because
how was there a stormtrooper in there? Well, it's just something we never saw before. So
yes.
Well, I mean, it takes 7,000 years for them to devour and die. That's slow death.
So it's what I thought was kind of interesting too is because I was watching I found a YouTube video that I just randomly came across. It was with Patton Oswalt, and I don't know if anybody knows who that is. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
He was talking about how they should, like, the whole scene with him and Boba Fett and how he escapes the Sarlacc and everything.
He was doing that years ago.
Yeah, he described that scene like to a fucking T, like 10 years
years
ago.
It was from an episode of Parks and Recreation where he was. It was a scene that they didn't air all of it in the episode proper, but they uploaded like the whole scene onto like the onto the internet or whatever. It was like he was like trying to like filibuster like a city council meeting because he wasn't happy with something. I don't remember exactly what it was now because it's been several years since that was on. But yeah, that's what he was doing. Is he was he was coming out. He had some big convoluted idea. The whole thing was incredible. He has still like this like rant that he went on. So yeah, it's a highly entertaining piece of trivia, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was from Parks and Recreation, but that's just really funny how he like in part another show like describes how that scene should happen, and it's almost like to a T how that scene happens in the show.
Right?
Jeremy, I know you've been in COVID quarantine, but you need to get your ass to the theater and see Spider-Man.
I'd have to see the one before. I'd have to see the 2 before that. I haven't seen any of the Spider-Man movies, man.
Well, you can watch the other ones on, or are they on Disney Plus or not?
No, because Sony still owns them, I think. They won't fucking give them up. They're a bunch of douches.
Yeah, they
listen here, Sony.
Plus right now.
Is it Sony or is it Fox? Who owns that shit?
Sony.
Yeah,
I know it's on. They're starting to show it on TV now. One of the channels. I forget which one.
Jeremy, I mean, yeah, you haven't seen. You need to go see this one though, Jeremy, before you see spoilers and it ruins it for you.
Yeah, because it's got because I originally what I saw in the preview, Doctor Strange is in this one, right? He's part of this one, so they didn't take that out completely. Maybe changed it a little bit, but they left that in.
No, he's 100% in it.
Oh yeah.
So because Peter Parker wants to have it that nobody knows who Spider-Man is or some shit like that. So
this
fuck
Joe,
the other 2. Just go see this one.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Like for me, Jeremy, I don't know where Pat would. For like me, it's one of the best Marvel movies of all time. Like Joe has it number 1. So that you have to go see this movie, Jeremy. This is like one of the better Marvel movies ever. Not just it's the best Spider-Man movie for sure. But it's something you just need. If you see spoilers and it ruins it for you, it's not going to be as much fun if you see it in the theater.
Well, I
So-
like that Doc Ock is in it again.
Yes.
I saw that he's in it, and I don't want you to ruin anything, but I'm guessing because of the fact that they're reusing the original guy that played Doc Ock from the Tobey Maguire movies,
Yes.
that he's traveled into that multiverse of that, and
Yes.
that's why we see him again.
Mhm.
Because I was
Correct.
like, it doesn't make sense to use him because he fucking dies. Like, he can't come back to life. So I was guessing that he goes into the he's part of the multiverse, and
Yes.
he's like actually back in time fighting
Mhm.
Yes.
Doc Ock again. So that's pretty interesting. So I guess that. So you didn't ruin anything for me there, but I think that's pretty cool. I like how they're incorporating the multiverse of Spider-Man into that movie.
Yes, and that's
So-
one of the things that makes it cool, Jeremy. I just like I said, it's a
There's
really good,
multiple things.
it's a really good movie, Jeremy.
You'll shed some tears as well.
Well, I mean, maybe if Marissa Tomei gets naked, then I'd shed some tears because I'd cry because I'd be happy. She's hot. I'm sorry.
I'd be shedding more than tears.
I don't know about I feel like something else would be going on there, not involving tears, but
Well, they'd be tears of joy, and then I'd have to go home, take it out on my wife.
so that
Lord.
the next time you go to the movies, Jeremy, that should be what you're going to see. Even if you have to go see it by yourself, you probably should go see that.
I'll be honest with you. I could not tell you the last time I went to a movie theater to see a movie. It's been that long. I think the last movie was Star Wars. The last Star Wars movie. That's the last movie I saw in the theaters.
I just went to go
The
see
Last,
Shin
Je-
2
the
on
last
Christmas
Jedi
Day.
was the last time I've been in the movie theaters.
You mean the Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker, yes. Sorry, Rise of Skywalker.
You didn't go
sorry.
see Endgame in the theater?
Nope.
What'd you say,
Oh,
Joe?
no,
You
did
went-
I? Did I see that in the theater?
I saw Sing 2 on Christmas Day.
I might have saw Endgame in the theater.
That's my last movie.
Oh no, I
Oh,
didn't.
no. I went to go see the Kingsman prequel.
What's the
I might
Kingsman
go-
2 prequel to what?
The Kingsman prequel to the other two.
I might go see.
It shows you how the
Scream.
Kingsman started.
Oh, what were the other two? What
They
were
were
they
all
called?
called Kingsmen.
Oh, they were all called
Yeah.
the Kingsman?
Yes.
One was
I
like
never-
the
I didn't-
Golden Circle or whatever.
Oh, I didn't know there was other Kingsman movies. I thought that was the first one.
No.
Because I didn't pay attention to that series.
No, it's good. It's cool. It's different.
Pat,
I've
what
heard
did you
good
go
things
see?
about the Scream
You
movie,
went to
though.
see something today, Pat? What'd you go see?
I saw West Side Story finally.
Mm.
The new West Side Story. Ooh.
And how was that?
I mean, you're always going to inevitably compare it to the original. I thought it was better than the original in some aspects. I thought it wasn't as good as the original in some aspects, and I'm not a big fan of the original because I've just always found the fucking premise, even for a musical, I've always found the premise absurd.
We're gonna fight with knives tonight.
Basically, yeah.
It
There
looks
was
like
an-
the Chargers are driving with 40 seconds left.
They did.
Yep.
They did an SNL sketch in the mid '90s, like when Norm Macdonald was still on the show, which was like a parody of West Side Story, where like the two like street gangs meet up with each other, and they're more interested in like singing and dancing than fighting and shit. So like it's kind of always been my feeling for West Side Story. The two lead actors, like the guy in it's the guy from Baby Driver.
Yep.
I don't think a lot of him. He was better than I thought he would be, which was fine. The girl, I know she's the right ethnicity and everything, but again, when comparing it to the original, she's not someone I could see somebody spotting for the first time and instantly falling madly in love with.
Who is it?
Her name is Rachel Ziegler, I think. It just is kind of like her first this is like her first big role, if not first role altogether, I think.
Gotcha.
They basically did like an open casting type thing. But I'm like, she's not as pretty as Natalie Wood was back in the 1961 version. Of course, Natalie Wood was obviously not Hispanic. And this is cruel, but I just couldn't help but think of this when I was watching her a lot in this movie. There was a joke on Family Guy several years ago where they were like breaking into Peter's father-in-law's like vault at like his one house to rob him.
Mm-hmm.
And Quagmire is like the one who's like breaking into the vault, and he's like, oh no, the 6-inch solid steel vault door. Good thing I have Reese Witherspoon's chin with me.
Yeah.
And he pulls out Reese Witherspoon and uses her chin to cut through it. When I was watching this girl in this movie, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking that she could have been substituted in for Reese Witherspoon in that gag now, because she has a bit of a prominent chin. So like I said, that's
got a
cool.
strong jaw.
Yeah, that's cruel and everything, but I mean, again, she was fine and everything. It's just it was 2.5 hours long.
2.5 hours. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I'm not saying through no 2.5 hour musical. Plus,
Well,
it's a concert.
it's not musical the whole way. Luckily, it wasn't like where it's all singing, fortunately. But I mean, I've mentioned this before in the last few weeks. Again, it's just like it seems like every fucking movie I've gone and seen recently, and I'm saying like dating back to like September, has felt way too long in the theaters. Now, some of this might be because of the fact that for a lot of these movies that I've been seeing recently, I've been driving an hour and 15 minutes to the theater in Princeton so I can go see it with my dad. So that might be having an impact on it too. But so many of these movies just like they feel longer than their runtime is. Like the pacing is off, or it's like they could just be like, hey idiots, you could have edited this scene out and nobody would have given a shit. So
That could be it too.
It's been very frustrating with it but it seems like almost every single movie I've seen over the last 3 or 4 months has been between 2 and 2.5 hours long. I mean, like the only one that I don't think was that long was the Venom sequel, and the only ones that I can think of that I saw that I didn't feel like or I started like nodding off during were Shang-Chi and Spider-Man. But like everything else, whether it was
Shang-Chi was good.
whether it was Eternals or No Time to Die or Nightmare Alley or Licorice Pizza, which I saw yesterday, or The Kingsman or West Side Story or now I can't even fucking remember everything that I've seen. But they all had their points where it was just like, okay, this is too long, this is paced too slowly, it's like, come on, let's move it along here. So and I don't really know what's behind that. I don't know if it's because the directors have too much control or what, but I don't know. I mean, obviously this version of West Side Story was directed by Steven Spielberg. Obviously nobody's telling him what to do with his movie.
No.
Yeah.
But some of these other movies, you would think that they would have had somebody, especially when it comes to like the Marvel movies and the Bond movie and everything like that. And you're pretty sure there's some kind of like, driving force as far as like a producer or whatever, who's basically standing over the shoulder saying, you got to do this, you got to do that. You're not fully in charge here. So.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
And I have no idea what's going to win at the Oscars this year. It's feels like it's a bit of a wide open field. It seems like the movies that I keep seeing as like the top contenders haven't really been seen by a lot of people, which I'll mostly blame on the pandemic and everything. But it's also once again been one of those years where the Oscar contenders are not the popular films, which is, I mean, generally the way it's been for a while now. But yeah, we'll see.
So Pat, if you were, I'm going to change the subject. If you were, I know that there's things out of.
If you were a hamburger, what kind of hamburger would you be?
I know there's things out of people's control But if you would have been at day one last week and got there and they said Roman Reigns and you went to see Roman, would you have been pissed?
Probably. I mean, you know, of course, you can't do anything about it because of that fun little disclaimer.
Hard
Or
subject to change.
Subject to change, but yeah, I mean,
I know you said you have a conspiracy theory, Pat. I can't see Roman agreeing to doing that. So,
why? It didn't cost him anything.
principle wise, I can't see him doing that.
No, I can't either. But I mean, he was back on the show Friday night, wasn't he?
Yeah, but the quarantine period is shorter for some places now, not longer.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, WWE is capable of it for sure. There's no doubt about that.
They don't care about morals.
Yeah, WWE. Roman,
You get out there and wrestle.
Roman,
You got COVID, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
Your ear's falling off. I don't give a shit.
You'll get out there and wrestle when I say you will. You're an independent contractor.
Facts.
It surprisingly, Pat, when you texted and said there went the pay-per-view, that the 5-way match actually was entertaining. So
I think that
Oh, I think the refs are going to kiss.
I think I also had posted that before they announced Lesnar was in the
Oh, you just posted it when they said Roman was out, right?
yeah, I'm like 90% sure of that.
Yeah, you probably did. I was not here. I didn't get here. I wasn't here like until before it started. Like I had to work. So I didn't get home and eat dinner. I didn't know about that until I turned the pre-show on. And by then they had already decided it was a 5-way. I had seen that Roman was out, but I had not seen that they made it. And I heard them talking about a 5-way. And I'm like, what are they talking about? This match is only a 4-way. And then I was like, oh, now I understand. So that match could have been longer, actually, because the match itself was somewhat entertaining. I actually would have been okay if it would have been a little bit longer. So,
I mean, Alexa Bliss comes back next week or tomorrow.
For the 17th time.
We're gonna get
injury.
her journal back to Raw or whatever. So I don't know if we're just gonna get a promo thing with her or
we'll get something from her.
Chargers scored, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I must be a little behind because they're reviewing a catch right now.
I'm on Bleacher Report, so
the tie possibility.
Yes, yes, game is tied right now.
They're going to overtime.
Oh, here we go. Could the Steelers get screwed? Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it.
I mean, Alexa Bliss is coming back perfect. That's another body in the Royal Rumble. So
yeah.
So I'm guessing since she's coming back again, she must have got injured again.
No, they wrote her off TV so they could change her character.
Oh, okay. They wanted to get rid of the creepy.
It was a circumstance where creative has nothing for you.
Well, they needed to get the bad taste out of her mouth of her with her special powers and all that garbage. So
yeah.
Plus, since they did. Getting rid of Bray Wyatt, they didn't want to keep her going in that character anymore either, which makes sense. Even though she was creepy sexy with those contacts and some of the other stuff, but
yeah, here we go.
Just me. That's just me.
Creepy sexy.
That's just me. Ooh, a minute 15 left, and the Lakers have pulled within 8.
No.
Me think with my boners.
Fucking LeBron.
Hey, don't make fun of me.
I wasn't making fun of you. I was directed at Joe.
Whatever. Me and Joe were like the same person. Both think with our penis.
Oh, that's a high scoring game too.
Yeah, 126 to 118.
Defense.
Well, the Lakers are outscoring the Memphis in the fourth quarter, 35 to 19.
Come on, Grizzlies, let's go.
It's like Memphis forgot how to score this quarter.
LeBron's got 35, so
that to match his age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down to 7. Jesus.
Fucking goddamn it!
What a meltdown.
Wow. Morant only has 15 points.
Yeah, and this has been when he's been taking over, like playing big in games at the end. He's been making big shots at the end of games too. There was
I
a
didn't know Pat McAfee played for the Chargers. That kicker was pumped up after he made that extra point. Yeah.
That's funny.
Next thing
I
he's gonna
saw
get on camera and fucking start mouthing off to the other team.
Around.
I watched a thing the other day. It was like, it was recent. Like it was in like the last month. There was a guy, he had like the top, like the 15 best like wrestling themes, like currently of people currently wrestling. It was
Mhm.
it was a pretty good list. He had Edge number 1. I don't know if I would have had Edge number 1. I would have had him in the top 5. I don't know if I would have had Edge number 1. I'm not saying I completely disagree with it.
Oh, you
But-
think you know me, don't you?
But like he had Edge 1. I think CM Punk was in the top 5. He had Nakamura. He had Finn Balor. He had Adam Cole's new music.
Is Punk using cultural personality
Oh, yeah.
over in AEW?
Oh, yeah. Punk can't use anything other than that for the rest of his career.
This is the best theme music right here. You guys don't know what this is. I'm gonna be so mad.
That sounds like Batman, the original Batman theme music.
Talk about wrestling and these people on comic book music.
Well, it's a theme song, so I threw it in there.
Well, now there's only 25
That was.
seconds
It
left
sounded
now.
like Batman. Was I wrong with that?
Spider-Man.
It does
was
kind of sound a
Spider-Man.
little bit, but it was Spider-Man.
Original
Spider-
Spider-Man. You're talking like
Spider-
1970s Spider-Man shit.
Spider
Right.
Pig.
At
Spider
least
Pig.
there's only like 20 seconds left now, and they're up by 8, Joe. So at least now that's over.
Does whatever
Hopefully.
the Spider Pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. He's a pig. Remember after that Simpsons movie?
Yes. Oh, it's funny.
Oh man,
That is
it
funny.
is almost midnight. Damn, got late quick.
Yeah, it did.
It gets late early around here.
Yeah.
They say you never heard that yogiism before.
No.
The way and wisdom of Yogi Berra, my friend. You know, this is the man who, when he was asked if he wanted his pizza cut into 4 slices or 8, he said, "Better make it 4. I don't think I could eat 8."
Mm-hmm.
This is the man who, when he was asked about a certain restaurant, I don't remember which one, he said, "Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded."
On that note, maybe we're done.
Those are like
Come on,
dad
boys,
jokes, but in
really.
reverse.
Oh,
Joe, what are you
isn't
playing
that-
us?
Isn't that something? So I've never seen Spotify do this before. So I just started playing that, and at the bottom of the bar, it shows like how long the song is. And It shows progression. And I've never seen this before. And I gotta start looking at other stuff. But when I started playing it, a lightsaber just showed up at the progression bar. And as it starts playing, it shows like the lightsaber like turning on.
Ooh,
Here.
fancy.
I'll show you.
You're gonna show us. Ooh, show us your
Yeah.
saber.
That's only for special people.
we got to give the people what they want, you know.
Jesus, where is here?
This game might be over soon.
I see.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I've never seen that like before. I was like, whoa, what the hell?
I do not see.
Well,
I must be
overall,
behind.
like, it was up. He had it up a little bit higher, and I saw it. Now everybody's pictures are over it.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah, now you can see it.
Yeah, that's
kinda
pretty cool. I'm like, oh, look at that Spotify being all kinds of fancy and shit. Well then.
Oh, okay, yeah. It finally came through at the last second. Now it's back to now your pictures are back. But
Yeah, I got rid of it. Whatever.
I must have a bad connection. Bad connection.
Pat, did you happen to see? Did you see when Phoenix got fucked up at the end of Dynamite the other night when he dislocated his elbow and it looked like he broke his arm?
I heard about it. I didn't see it. I'm not keen to look at injuries like that.
Yeah, showed the replay like 3 times. It was like, stop showing the replay of this guy getting fucking hurt.
Yeah, it was just weird because I kept showing different angles of it and whatnot. I'm like, oh my God, it looks horrendous. Like, please.
Again,
Jeremy, his arm was like turned the wrong direction, Jeremy, when he went through after he went through the table.
Fantastic.
That once
Like
again,
his arm went.
that once again reminds me of an old SNL sketch where it was like Adam Driver was the host that night, and he and I think probably Beck Bennett were doing Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels calling a Sunday night game. And they were talking about how whatever team it was, I think Green Bay was down to their 4th string quarterback because of the other guys got injured. And Pete Davidson was playing the quarterback, and he gets hit, and his legs get bent back and like completely backwards. And they're like, "Oh my God, that is awful! That is terrible! It's just nauseating to look at. Let's see it again from a different angle." And they just keep replaying it over and over again. And then eventually they go down to like he's like on like a gurney on the sideline, and they're wanting to get a word with the doctor, and it's Keenan Thompson, and he's just all like, "Nope, not talking about this."
Yeah, it was like that. It was like AEW's like, "Oh, look, let's keep showing this replay." No, let's not keep showing this replay of this guy getting hurt.
Or
Vegas kicked the field goal.
Yep. Or
No
Damn, how did I get behind on a live feed? That far behind, too.
Lewis Black did a routine where he was talking about the fallout from the Janet Jackson
Nipple slip.
breast exposure from the Super Bowl halftime show. He's like, it was like, in the next morning, my beloved country lost its mind because every news show you turn on was like, "Holy shit, did you hear about what happened at the Super Bowl last night? Janet Jackson's breast was exposed, and it was indecent. It was terrible. It was horrible. It was shocking. Let's take a look at the video."
I know, right? Let's see some boobs.
It's 9:02. We haven't seen the tit since 9. Let's take a look at the tit again.
Oh, it's so funny sometimes. What's the stupidity?
Nothing like a good
so
boob.
Funny. Yeah. Peekaboo boob. Yeah, that's what it was.
You know that shit was planned. You know Justin Timberlake didn't do that by accident. Janet Jackson was like, "I want you to show my tit on TV. Let's see if they catch it."
Janet Jackson was like, "I need to, have my name in the news again." So,
Pat, did you see any of the MJF and CM Punk had a good promo again this week?
No, I did not. I
Like-
probably have to go back and rewatch that and find
'Cause-
that.
Yeah, Punk was like, MJF was teasing, like, MJF's like totally teasing this. I can jump ship when my contract's up because everybody wants me. So he's like,
Yeah, but his contract's up in like 2 years. So
Yeah.
it's like,
so he was like, "Punk, your hero Piper main event of WrestleMania. Did you ever main event WrestleMania?" And Punk was like, "Hey, MJF, you can go be on the 4th night of a buy one get one free extravaganza."
Before you get released. It was quite funny.
It was quite so. They continue to like. It's okay to me if Punk and MJF take pot shots at WWE, but AEW as a whole, no. But if the two of them want, because I think CM Punk is enjoying taking his pot shots at WWE, I actually think he's enjoying it. So if he wants to do that, let him do it.
I mean, I'm okay with them doing it because like they've established it as a thing that they are doing,
Yes.
but don't let anybody else do it because you have multiple. If you start having multiple people do it, you're watering it down.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. But then it also just it comes off very, very petty then. So you gotta
It does.
you gotta pick your battles and all that other fun
Yeah.
shit that they talk about when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Pat, did you actually watch? Did you watch day one or not?
I want to say I watched the last hour.
Okay, so you didn't see.
So I saw like the Mickey James. Woo! I saw the Becky Lynch Liv Morgan match, and then I saw the Fatal 5-Way.
So you missed the awkward when Miz was fighting Edge and the camera cut back to Beth Phoenix and her music didn't play.
I did see that. I did see that match too, because I think actually literally when I turned it on was when Edge was coming up through the
and he did
to the Brood music. Yeah.
That was really awkward, right, Pat? When the camera panned back to her and she was just standing there, like waiting for her music to hit.
Yeah. It's like that's
Somebody
the kind
missed
of
their cue.
that's the kind of shit you don't expect out of WWE, because they're usually right on with their anything that's production related. So yeah. It was interesting in a not good way.
Indeed.
So how'd you make this fucking error?
It was a little odd.
So I have one football thing that I wanted to mention. I found this very interesting. So Saturday, they were calling it the weekend Monday night football game.
I fucking hated that with a passion.
Oh, you mean
It's so stupid.
Yeah, they were calling it the Monday night doubleheader on Saturday or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which made no
so
sense.
So fucking dumb.
And it drove me nuts because, and I thought it was a mess up at first until I heard them say it a couple times. I'm like, they have the Monday night graphic up. Like, who the hell's going to lose their job right now? And then after I heard them say something, I'm like, oh my God, they actually are advertising this like it's the Monday night game. I'm like,
Stupid.
This is fucking dumb.
It's a sad, just do what's the NFL Saturday night special. Boom.
Yeah.
Saturday night football. Like, come on, people.
This is something that I think we have discussed in the past. It's all about the brand. Brand is what means everything.
Uh-huh.
But yes, the games are on Saturday, but Monday night football is the brand.
Even Scott Van Pelt was like, on a special edition of the Monday night Monday night special doubleheader, like, because he always has the Monday night thing that he does afterwards.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
I'm like, what the hell? Like, even he's got to buy in this. It looks ridiculous. Sounds ridiculous.
4th and 9 from the Chargers 26, and they complete a pass for 47 yards.
Holy shit.
So now they have the ball 1st and 10 at the Raiders 27. 6:02 left, down a field goal.
Yeah, I'm like 20 some seconds behind you. I don't know how that happened.
A field goal keeps them in the game, of course, but
he passed to Mike Williams.
Yeah, a touchdown obviously wins them the game. So that's interesting to see. Let's see how they play it now. Because if they tie, they get in.
Yeah.
Right. There's also way too much time left for them to try to run down the clock the whole way. So
this is,
and I think there's still got to be that thing in the back of your mind where you're like, they're our division rival. We can't let them get in the playoff. The fact that Vegas is still competing for a playoff spot is amazing here, because like on the page that I have open, it's got like the AFC West standings off to a block on the side here. And the Raiders this year have scored, I would assume this is coming into the game, have scored 339 points, but given up 407. Not very often where you're almost -70 on point differential and you're still in there for a playoff spot.
What's the timeouts? Is there any time? Do they both have their 2 timeouts left or no?
Yeah.
Where I am, yes.
I'm assuming so, but it also was kind of indicating to me that they have 3 timeouts, but I know that's not possible. So
no, they get 2 timeouts.
No, it's 3rd and 6 after an incompletion on 2nd and 6.
And Chargers fans are praying to God that they win.
Oh, another incompletion. So now it's 4th and 6 from the Raiders 23. They've got to kick the field goal.
Yeah, if you don't kick the fucking field goal, you're stupid.
Yeah, if it was 4th and 1 and going forward, I could understand. But 4th and 6, no, you got to kick the field goal.
All right. Well, I do not think we need to stay on and narrate
we're
this
good.
game.
No,
'Cause
we can.
I think that we.
as much as I would love to, it's going to be drawn out right now. I was hoping that the Chargers might.
They kick the field goal, so it's tied. There's 4.5 minutes to go.
This game's going to end as a fucking tie.
Well, it could, but anything could happen, and it is now literally like next score wins. So,
Yeah.
Like if all it takes is one blown coverage or one bad read from the quarterback, and a defender steps in front of the receiver and returns it for a pick six, and the game will be over. But yeah,
Both have their timeouts left. Both have their 2 timeouts. Seems like.
But if you're the Raiders at this point, you get in with a tie.
right. If I were the Raiders right now, I'd probably be playing it pretty freaking conservatively, just to make sure I don't turn the ball over.
So you don't get in with a loss. You get in with a tie. So if you're the Raiders, you don't need to score any more points.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting. All right. So that ends our episode. We thank everybody for watching. We thank you for tuning in. It's been fun. We hope you enjoyed it. Listen to us bullshit. And like we always do every time we sign off, we'll say good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
We definitely didn't say that on the one you weren't